Here from my friends at Xfinity. What if more reliable didn't mean more expensive? With Xfinity, you can get reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi for less. We're talking intelligent gig-speed Wi-Fi for $50 a month. This holiday season through January 4th, Xfinity is offering their best price on gig-speed Wi-Fi, guaranteed for 5 years. No contracts, no strings attached. You could save $3,000 over Verizon and AT&T. Imagine getting super fast Wi-Fi at the same price for 5 years. Get everything you need from Xfinity, their best Wi-Fi equipment, and even unlimited data, all included at their best price. Get ready to be wowed by your Wi-Fi. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto-paid with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary. Savings based on promo and post-promo prices for 1 gig internet, 1 unlimited line, and Peacock Premium versus Verizon 1 gig internet and AT&T 1000 internet and 1 unlimited starter SL line.
Do you own a small business? You need to hear this. A seismic shift is coming. It's time to get super sure. Not kind of sure, not pretty sure, but super sure. Coming soon.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos. Humble bragging.
I slept great until I got up this morning at my accustomed time of 3:45 to get ready for this extravaganza.
Bitter jealousy.
We've been working together for 9 years.
That's true. That's true.
9 years, and a lesser stag has caught your scent.
And timeless Friday traditions.
I'm like, let's go. Let's get the party started. I'm ready to go.
It's Stokley and Evans with Mark Schlereth on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Even with the guys out, you got to let the tradition play on. It's John Davis, Chad Andrus, sitting in for the guys on this post-Christmas Day reaction. Chad, in the past few years, a decade in one case, a few years in the other, the Chiefs and the Minnesota Timberwolves have been a thorn in the side of the Broncos and the Denver Nuggets. Earlier this year, they beat them in 1 week, and yesterday they beat them on Christmas night. Really awesome to come into that today.
Undefeated against those teams in 2025.
Amazing.
So going back to, week 18 last year when Chiefs didn't play anybody and Bo goes nuts and they blow them out. And now the Nuggets, I guess the Nuggets may not be undefeated in 2025, but in the 2025 season they are over the Wolves. And took a little extra work to get it done last night. The Christmas that would never end, the Sprite-mas, the Anti-Claus threat that went to overtime. But Nuggets, thank goodness for Nikola Jokic, another Jokmas, not December 15th, but actually on Christmas night. Last night, they both get it done, regardless of your frustrations along the way. They're both in pretty good shape right now.
Which game's outcome surprised you more?
The Nuggets, easily. Yeah. No, we sat here the last couple of days and we talked about the Broncos and where they are right now, and I came to the conclusion that I had to go back to where I was early on in this season and not worry about style points, not worry about how it looks, how pretty it is, regardless of who they're up against, just win the football game. And they had the ball for essentially 40 minutes and dominated time of possession and methodically won the football game. Was it a little bit closer than I would have liked in terms of the score? Absolutely, but you're playing in Arrowhead in December. We know the history of what that's like for the Denver Broncos. The Nuggets down 3 starters had no business being up 15 in the fourth quarter and beating Minnesota last night, but they did because they have Jokic and Murray.
No, it was impressive. There's something different about the Nuggets this year. Just everything's. I think both Booth and Malone were just sucking the air out of that organization, and it is both of them. It's not a this guy screwed this guy. They both were so wildly unprofessional last year, letting players get in the middle of it. Sometimes just removing that presence, and the roster's constructed better, even with injuries now. So, no, it was really good to watch them both go out last night. Obviously, the Nuggets a little bit earlier in their season than the Denver Broncos. But right now, Chad, with the Broncos, All eyes on the Houston Texans and the Los Angeles Chargers tomorrow because the Broncos still have not solidified the AFC West with 13 wins with 1 game to go in the season. Looking at the Chargers tomorrow, how they play, what the outcome of that game will be, will have a lot of – the Broncos have to win next week no matter what, but we'll kind of know what's on the line next week after that game tomorrow with the Chargers and Texans.
Yeah, you could go in as AFC West champions, knowing you have that next week, but you're playing for that top seed and the bye and home field throughout the AFC, regardless. So, but because the Patriots are not going to lose, right? They play the Jets and then the Dolphins.
Right.
So they're not going to lose a game. You're going to have to win if you want the top seed and only have to play 2 games at home to get to the Super Bowl. So you know that will be on the line even if you already are AFC West champions.
Yeah, that's kind of the big one tomorrow. Here's something I'm looking at tomorrow between the Texans and the Chargers as it pertains to the Broncos next week. If the Chargers can survive the Houston Texans defense tomorrow, there's no reason to believe they cannot come in here and survive the Denver Broncos defense next weekend. And that's what I'm looking at because the Texans pass rush right now is more potent right now than the Broncos are.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. It's a weird dynamic because I'm more impressed with what the Chargers have done and what they have overcome to be in the position they are, but I'm more confident in Houston's chances to make a playoff run and potentially go to the Super Bowl because I don't believe the Chargers, I will have to see it to believe it that they can make a run to a Super Bowl with all the injuries they've sustained and playing with all backup offensive linemen and Justin Herbert with one hand and all the things that have gone on there. I will have to see it to believe it, even though I'm more impressed with what they've done under those circumstances to this point than what Houston has done.
Yeah, that's kind of I agree with that. Houston's set up roster-wise, injury-wise, to play good teams and know how to survive that. The Chargers, it just feels like now if they had Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, this is a completely different conversation. But yeah, the Chargers, it feels like at some point those injuries just catch up to you regardless of where they're at on that side of the ball. The Broncos are a little bit injured as well, but the Chargers really depleted and they've got their offensive line's depleted and they've got the Texans and the Broncos back-to-back weeks. That's a tough way to end the season for them. Yeah,
you would expect them to get beat up and be limping on the way out, even if they figure out ways to win one or both of those games. You can't imagine that they're going to be in real good shape going into the playoffs.
Now, kind of something interesting, because Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt were out for the season. But if you were to take a Chargers equivalent in the NBA, it's the Denver Nuggets. That you're looking at the injuries saying there's no way these guys go out there and beat this Minnesota Timberwolves team who just beat Oklahoma City last week. And then they go out there, and because they've got elite guys at the right position. But right now, yeah, the Nuggets are the Chargers of the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, it happened with the Spurs and the Thunder yesterday. It happened with the Nuggets and the Wolves. There was really no indication that teams that had struggled against an opponent who came in healthier and ready to play on Christmas should have lost the game, and they both did. The Thunder lost at home. The Wolves lost to a Nuggets team playing only 2 of their 5 starters. So, I'm wearing the shirt today, the Serbian Jokic shirt. Look, I mean, we had the 61-point triple-double last year when they lost the game late thanks to the Russell Westbrook foul and what happened there.
At the buzzer for 3.
Yeah. And was that overtime as well? Was that
no? That was regulation. That was Michael Malone's last game.
Okay, and then Jokic last night, 56 points, 16 rebounds, 15 assists. We've completely run out of words to describe this guy. Like I hope everybody is appreciating it, enjoying what they're seeing, not taking any of it for granted, because when Jamal Murray has started the way he has, and those two guys are capable of carrying a team by themselves in this manner, it's special. It's so special. And it's a shame that no one else saw that last night, because if that would have been in the Spurs Thunder slot or even in the Lakers Rockets slot, the whole country would have seen that performance.
Yeah.
But on Christmas night, nobody was up. Nobody was staying up till after 1 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast watching that game last night. So it's just going to fly under the radar.
Yeah, so they'll continue saying Jokic doesn't care about basketball and he's overrated, and then he'll come out and cook their team for 50, which is fine. which is totally fine. But the Denver Broncos, Chad, check out this text. Guys, the Broncos barely beat another JV Chiefs team without over 10 starters. Come on, be better at your jobs. Okay, so Chad and I are going to attempt to be better at our jobs. No. The Broncos won last night. Style points. It's a term you use. It's a term we talked about in the pregame. They got it done last night. Does the visual of how they got it done last night bother us, and does it matter? We get into that next.
Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Denver Sports 1043 to stay up to date on all your local teams. Denver Sports 1043. The Fan.
What is happening, fellas? Stoke here. Man, I love the holiday season. Full of hustle, bustle, packed with activity, right? But when your energy is drained and you're not sleeping well, your sex drive is nowhere to be found, and maybe it's tough to feel festive, these could be signs of low testosterone. If that's what's going on, this is your season to take action and get treated. My friends at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, Jeff and his team, they're the absolute best. They can get you taken care of. Fellas, did you know early to your mid-30s, you start losing 2 to 3% of your testosterone production every year? And it happens gradually. And before you know it, you just don't feel like the same man you did in your 20s or 30s. But the good news is it doesn't have to be that way. Get that energy back. Start seeing those gains in the gym again. Start sleeping better. Life's too short. Most men wait a year longer to get treated, fellas. There's no need to wait. Don't go another season with low T. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic has served the Front Range of Colorado for nearly a decade, and they have successfully treated tens of thousands of men. They have 5 locations in Colorado to serve you: Fort Collins, North Denver, Central Denver, Castle Rock, and Colorado Springs. Call 720-440-7900, 720-440-7900, or you can find them online at RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Hi, I'm John Ray, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. Getting engaged? So friends, listen up. Shane Company engagement rings are protected with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty. We stand behind the same quality we've offered since 1929. Our rings are crafted to last. It's why our warranty is the only one that protects your center stone. We also cover repairs, resizings, cleanings, and so much more. That's money you keep for you and your family, because a friend always has your back. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Soon, if not already, businesses throughout the world will draft their mission statements. These complicated documents, filled with legal jargon and mysterious words, define corporate goals and objectives. We do that, but ours is different. This is Glenn Jameron, president of Alpine Bank, member FDIC. Our mission boils down to 2 simple words. If we dedicate ourselves to these 2 words, everything else will follow. What are they? Be kind. The English language contains hundreds of thousands of words, but at Alpine Bank, 2 are all we need. Alpine Bank, committed to Colorado and you.
Your air duct cleaning experts, Ductworks.
Hey guys, feeling cooped up this winter? Mark Schlereth here. You know these Colorado nights can get freezing cold with your furnace running non-stop just to keep things cozy. But here's the thing. While your heating system is working overtime, it's also blowing dust, dirt, and debris through your air ducts and straight to the air you breathe. That's where Ductworks comes in. Your trusted air duct cleaning experts. Using a powerful combination of scraping and vacuuming technology, the Ductworks team clears out years of buildup, grime, and other gunk hiding in your ductwork. The results? Cleaner, fresher air, better energy efficiency, and a healthier home or office for you and your family. Don't wait until spring. Breathe easier now with top-rated service from Ductworks. Call them at 303-425-0985 or visit them online today at ductworks.com for a free residential or commercial estimate.
303-425-0985.
This season, we'll let Santa handle the gifts. Postman Law delivers results. Over $3 billion recovered for injured clients. When you're hurt, Postman Law delivers for you. Postman delivers. Call 844-POSTMAN.
Attorney Advertising.
Kick off 2026 with your 10-time national champions, your Denver Pioneers hockey team in Magnus Arena, January 2nd and 3rd.
Took it into the offensive end, now taken away. Here's Rieger Lorenz. 2 Tigers got bodied up with each other. Lorenz in front, backhanded, a save made by Americo. The best chance of the night for Denver.
DU will host Maine. Denver Hockey versus Maine, presented by Wendy's. Tickets available online now. See you in 2026.
Cake Mortgage Corp. Equal Housing Lender. NMLS number 1734623. Licensed in Colorado by the Division of Real Estate. Terms and conditions apply. Are your bills keeping you up at night? Imagine using your home equity for a financial reset that helps you to finally get ahead again. At Cake Mortgage, we get it. Life's expensive. Insurance, groceries, and high-interest credit card debt. That's why we created the Cake Fast Cash Home Equity Program. Turn your home into your ATM without touching your existing mortgage rate. Cake Fast Cash is fast. Many clients close in 2 weeks, so call Cake today and pay down high-interest cards, free up cash, or fund home upgrades, and you only pay for what you use. Cake Mortgage. Your fresh-baked fast cash loan is ready to enjoy. Call 720-850-0012. That's 720-850-0012. Or visit cakehome.com.
Hey Broncos country, it's Terrell Davis here. You know, in the game of life, our most valuable asset is our health. With the right equipment, you can train like a pro. That's why I made the smart move to invest in fitness equipment with Fitness Gallery. It's a game changer. I have a true treadmill at home. It's the smoothest and quietest I've ever been on.
For the fitness fanatic on your Christmas list, save big this holiday season. At Fitness Gallery, we have deals everywhere, up to 50% off. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. We have you covered.
Stay up to date on the Broncos and the latest news from around the league with our NFL insider James Palmer, exclusively on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Mondays on The Rundown with Richie Carney, Tuesday afternoons on The Drive, and Friday mornings on Stokley and Evans with Mark Schlereth, all season long. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
John Davis, Chad Anders sitting in for the fellas today, reacting to the Denver Broncos and the Denver Nuggets throughout the show. Broncos go in last night, Chad. It's something we talked about on the pregame. It's something we talked about all year. Some people are upset about how the win went. My whole thing last night was just go in there and get a win. I don't care about the style points. Did the style points bother you last night?
Well, I think if we break down the two different words independent of each other, the style I liked, the style I approve of, having the ball for 40 minutes. The points I don't approve of, having only 20 when you have the ball for 40 minutes of the game. That was problematic to me. So if you look at them individually and break down what that means, it's a split vote. But I've said over and over, I don't care about style points for this team. I don't think that's who this team is. This is a high floor and an undetermined ceiling type of team. And they don't beat themselves. They let you make mistakes, and they win games. And I can't say for the entire season I'm okay with that approach and say just win games and rack up as many as you can and see where the chips fall at the end. I can't say that all season and then be mad because they didn't blow out a bunch of backups in Arrowhead in December last night. So it's interesting. I'm anxious to hear your takes and your point of view on this, because there were a couple points in the game last night where we were texting with each other, and it appeared like you were more frustrated with this team than you have been all season. And you were more upset and disappointed than you had been at any point all season because of the way that game was going at certain different points, and like in the second quarter.
Yeah, it was kind of coming out what really was frustrating me early on was some of the things seemed to have spilled over. It kind of got corrected. The interception early on, Bo was really off in the first quarter, and that was really bothering me. It felt like to me they came out flat again. It felt like they came out tired, and they should have been tired. It was a short week, but it's everything that wasn't going right was repeating itself. Vance Joseph's defense allowed a third down conversion with Chris Oladokin. They're letting Travis Kelce. They just let momentum. They let the crowd get involved. One of my big things to winning that game was just letting the Chiefs know early on, you're not winning this game. Didn't mean you had to win by 30, but you just come out, the throws are off. I didn't love the play calling so much early on. The run seemed to be abandoned a little bit early. They kind of came back to it. But it just, for a team that got embarrassed, they just came out real flat. I think that did get corrected, but I was very irritated with them coming off that loss and just kind of the demeanor of the team in the first quarter specifically.
It's hard on a short week on the road. I'll tip my cap that they won the game and controlled it the way they did, but I understand the disappointment in not looking cleaner and not looking better. And to me, it's really two things. When Chris Oladokun is a starting quarterback and they're down offensive linemen, we had both sat in here on the Fan Football pregame show yesterday and said, from the jump, make this uncomfortable for him and let him know he has no chance, that you're going to come get him, you're going to take the ball away, and you're no Christmas miracle is happening for you as the number 3 quarterback. And that didn't happen, number one. And number two, I think the frustrating part with the offense is since everyone saw the Packers game and saw what the best version of Bo Nix we've seen looks like, now people expect that. They're like, oh, well, he's figured it out. He's over the hump, but now you just expect him to be that guy. And last night, I mentioned it while the game was going on. It was what Ryan Fitzpatrick highlighted at halftime in his clips that he was showing. There were 3 throws in that first half where he was on the move and he never bothered to set his feet or even try, and he threw off his back foot. One was the interception that got tipped, and Bolton dove in and picked it. The other 2 were the inaccurate passes down the sideline and the other throw that he missed. And all 3 of them, he's on the move, but nobody's anywhere near him. And he still threw on the run off of his right foot instead of stopping, setting his feet, and making an accurate pass. And there was just no reason to do that. And those are the type of things that make you frustrated as a fan when you've seen him figure it out and play better.
That was kind of the frustrating thing early on. And I guess I'll state this. I don't mind that they won by a touchdown in one score. That doesn't bother me. And that didn't bother me. What bothered me was those things, the regression. And I don't know if I want to say regression. Yesterday on the pregame I'll say the muscle memory seemed to set back in. Everybody was crowning Bo after the Packers game. I'm sitting here and I think you were too. And it's kind of like, okay, whoa, I don't know if he's arrived, quote unquote. He's playing better, but let's see this continue. And early on, the frustration was the feet weren't setting the mechanics, because one thing that's happened throughout this year with Sean and Bo, and it happened early on. I think it changed throughout the game. Talking early on in the game, it was this thing where when Bo was good, Sean, the play call was bad. When the play call was good, Bo was bad. And they had this flip-flopping very early on in the season. That seemed to have gone away. Early on last night, I kind of started to see that again.
Yeah, I've given Sean the benefit of the doubt on the play calling because, one, they won 11 games in a row, and they figured it out, and he figured out how to win with the team he has. But the other part of this for me is it's much more on the second-year quarterback than it is on the coach, because when you start looking at some of those throws and the decisions he makes, like on the interception last night, he had 2 different guys open to throw to, and he chose to throw to the deeper one down the field, and he didn't set his feet and make the good throw to get it there, right? If he was going to throw on the run off of his back foot, the pass in the flat shorter is a lot easier throw to make by dumping it out there softly than trying to throw it another 15, 18 yards down the field when you're on the run off your back foot. Right, so Sean's plays are making the defense make a decision. Like the huge first down, the biggest play in the game that allowed them to go and get the go-ahead and game-winning touchdown was the 3rd down conversion to Humphrey, and he made the defense make a choice in the middle of the field, and they chose to break out to what is the Broncos' right hash and cover the guy in the flat there, and it left the middle of the field wide open. But if they would have stayed with little Jordan Humphrey, you still would have had the first down on the other throw. Right. So, yeah, the quarterback has to see it. He has to recognize it. But Sean's play calls are putting the defense into places where they have to make a choice, and it's the quarterback's job to just execute opposite of whatever they choose. But Sean's giving open options to him. It's just you can't always be throwing on the run and off your back foot because it's fun and you're athletic and you feel comfortable just free will and playing that way. You still have to, take care of the fundamentals and make sure the throw is accurate.
Did your opinion of Bo change throughout the game?
No.
No, not Bo overall. Your opinion of Bo in that game, did it change throughout the game?
No.
I thought he got better.
I don't think so. Well, yeah. I mean, he got better because he had to, but that's what he does. I mean, we know what his track record is as a competitor and what it is when the stakes are tuned up and when they have to get it right. He's not lazy with the footwork anymore. He runs and picks up the first down he needs. He finds the open receiver. That competitive drive, that spirit, that, whatever that quality is that makes him a winner, he tends to focus in and lock in on those things later in games that he doesn't always do early in games.
Yeah, and it kind of was a Bo Nix game last night overall from what we saw from him. But the style points, I didn't want Star Wars numbers. I wanted a win. I just wanted accurate passes and Cortland Sutton, let's go ahead and catch that ball, especially when we're in the end zone. So it was stuff like that was frustrating me last night more than the score of the game. It was just the whole, come on, guys, we just played bad, and I get that it's a short week. But Sean Payton, you mentioned his play calling. You like his play calling so far last night, or we're giving him the benefit of the doubt. Sean spoke about that after the game, and he used a very interesting phrasing when it came to one aspect of the offense. What did he say, and what does that say about the Broncos going forward? We'll do that next.
Follow us on X at DEN Sports 1043 for up-to-the-minute information and opinions on all things Denver sports. Also, we can still call it Twitter, right? Denver Sports 1043 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app.
What is happening? Stoke here from my friends at Embers Golf, and we want to wish everyone happy holidays. Hopefully your holiday season is going to be great, and I know how you can make it even better. Go check out my friends at Embers Golf. Gear up, save big, and surprise that golf enthusiast in your life. And what I love about Embers Golf, it's family owned and it's customer focused, so you know you're getting the best service and the best deals. Don't wait. You can shop now at embersgolf.com. It's located right in Westminster, and it isn't your big box golf store. It's boutique style, family owned, and built for true golf enthusiasts. They're not just selling you clubs, they're crafting a full journey personalized to you and your game. They got 2 private hitting bays, all the major brands, and they specialize in custom upgraded shafts that take your game to the next level. Trust me, I know. I got a full bag fitting, driver, 3-wood, all my irons. Love my clubs. Go get fitted just like I did. You can check everything out at embersgolf.com. Embers Golf, where your golf journey begins.
Castle Rock GMC has Hummers for the holidays. Drive electric power with attitude. With new 2026 Hummer EVs up to $18,750 off MSRP. Stock number SU120032. CastleRockGMC.com. We are professional grade. Up to $18,750 off MSRP on 2026 Hummer EVs. Stock SU120032. Hummer EV offer requires vehicle registration in Colorado. Colorado residency. An active Costco executive membership for at least 30 days. Offer subject to dealer availability, credit approval, taxes, title, and fees. See dealer for complete details.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon. Hello? You won't believe where I am. Are you running? Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay, plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Dan Jacobs for 303 Law 4040, and I'm here with that beautiful voice you hear on the other end of the phone oftentimes when you call 303 Law 4040. It's my lovely wife, Kimberly. Kim, I know you and I had so much fun the other day. We actually met with a couple that had been in an accident up north in their house the other day, and Randy was so excited. He's like, I can't believe it. It's the lovely wife. She's right here in my kitchen.
He's too kind. It was really great to meet him and his wife and his pets and just be able to help them.
I think it helps that when you answer the phone, when people call 303 Law 4040, it makes things, I know calling a lawyer can be scary, but I don't know, your soothing voice just makes it a little bit easier.
Well, I just want to help. That's all. And I know how to do that.
I love the holidays. I always like to wish our listeners happy holidays. Would you like to do so as well?
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful new year.
And I hope you never need us, but just in case, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. is 303-LAW-4040. That's 303-LAW-4040.
Hey, Mr. C, it's me. Well, I just picked up the ring. I actually went to Hellsberg. Thanks for that recommendation. Kate's gonna love that hers is from the same jeweler you got Mrs. C's ring from. They were so helpful throughout the whole process. They even knew your family by name, and the ring looks great. Anyways, I just couldn't wait to let you guys know. Call me back and wish me luck.
Hellsberg, designed with care and craft since 1915. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
Out on the course, they're the PGA Tour's best players. But in the arena, they're prime time. And Season 2 of TGL presented by SoFi is back with lights, cameras, action. We're talking big moments, big personalities, big names in the stands, all on the big screen. Big-time matchups with shot clocks, hammer drops, timeouts, overtime, and playoffs. It's city versus city, squad versus squad. The sport just hits different under the lights. It's TGL presented by SoFi. Keep up. It's golf. Tune into every match. Only on ESPN.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ETHOS.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Last-minute gifting? Head to your local Verizon store where giving and saving go hand in hand. Find great deals on phones, tablets, watches, and more. Everything you need to finish your holiday list. Visit your local Verizon store today.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan, powered by Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic.
It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
Chad, the Broncos just kept having long drives last night. We had seen it a few weeks ago against Raiders. It's John Davis and Chad Andrews sitting in for the guys the day after Christmas. But the Broncos, they ran the ball. They bled the clock for what I think is kind of a more sustainable way for them to win. But Sean Payton spoke about this and running the ball after the game. Pretty interesting comment he has here. Here's what he had to say.
I just think you become more run tolerant regardless of down and distance. And then what is it we like in the passing game with the too high shell? It doesn't mean you can't throw. You just have to understand what you're seeing.
What do you make of Sean Payton talking about run tolerant there after the game?
That word really jumps off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is what we've talked about repeatedly, and I think sometimes you don't hear the athlete, the coach, the politician, whoever it may be, just say the quiet thing out loud. He said the quiet thing out loud, finally. He doesn't want and doesn't like running the football. He would rather throw the football. If you don't believe that to be true, then explain to me why he would use a word like tolerant. You tolerate running the football. Oh, God, we've got to run it again. Oh, God, this is boring. Can I scratch my itch now? Can I let my first-round quarterback throw, please? Can we do something exciting? No, we've got to run it because of the way Spags is playing. I'll tolerate it just because we'll win. That's such an interesting word to use because it confirms everything that has been thought about Sean Payton and his tendencies and the way he wants to play and the way he prefers to play. He wants to throw the football. He tolerates running the football.
What'd you make of the run game last night?
I mean, it was fine. This was a meat and potatoes meal. This was not fine dining. This was not anything special. There was, no special dressing on the salad. There was, nothing that was out of the ordinary or unique. That was business-like. We are on 3 days of rest. We're going to go in and we're going to do whatever it takes when the clock hits 0 to be in front on the scoreboard. And they managed to do that. It was fine. It was fine. You were hungry. You ate. You can move on. But it wasn't, a gourmet dining experience.
So you had 14 carries for R.J. Harvey. I don't have Jaleel in front of me. I think he had probably 5, so that's 20 carries. But Bo did throw the ball 38 times last night. So how run tolerant were they? Do you like? Let me start with R.J. Harvey. 14 carries for 43 yards. Again, the visual on R.J. Harvey, I think at times is better than we get on the stat sheet. He's learning to break tackles. His vision, Jaleel's got better vision. If we could get R.J.'s tackle breaking with Jaleel's vision, I think they'd have something pretty special. Jaleel seems to be seeing the blocks a little bit better. But R.J. Harvey, while he's not going to set the rookie rushing record, he's a guy that you continually can justify being on the field in important moments.
It would help if there wasn't at least one or two plays a game where we try to run something wide and it's an automatic 7-yard loss that starts 9 yards behind the line of scrimmage and the guy has no chance ever. Right, that impacts numbers significantly, but one or two of those happen every single game.
Yep.
But yeah, I would agree with the assessment. The Jaleel McLaughlin thing is interesting to me. You see flashes, you see potential, but then you also see a guy that was inactive for most of the season.
Right.
Pretty much every game when J.K. Dobbins was available. So
he's running better though, particularly the last 2 weeks, and the spot carries that Jaleel gets, we're seeing him kind of get to the second level rather well. They don't go back to him a lot because things can get – he's not always explosive on there. And you're right, the R.J. Harvey to the point, the east-west plays, if you want to call them, where they run it behind the line of scrimmage. The problem with those plays is the guys that they have executing the blocks on the outside, Troutman just whiffed last night on one, just totally missed. They don't have the guys that can flawlessly execute those, but they do keep going back to, and you're right, it does make R.J. Harvey's numbers look a little weird. But there was multiple times last night where he was dead to rights in that backfield, and he found a way to get, even if it's just a 2-yard gain versus a 3-yard loss, that's tough running. That's the type of running that late in the postseason can help you out. I don't think R.J. Harvey's going to ever get you 150 yards. That's what J.K. Dobbins really needed there. And so I don't know if he's on some trajectory to become something other than what we see right now, but we are seeing a guy that can continually make a difference, and he gets in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, he's improved over the course of the season. I think the confidence boost he got from receiving the ball and the touchdowns early on in the year, midway through the year, help him a little bit in the running game for his playing time, and it allowed him to kind of step up and take that responsibility when Dobbins got hurt and make him feel a little bit more ready and prepared that he can do that. I don't have any complaints with R.J. Harvey. I mean, do I wish he was Travion Henderson? Yeah, I mean,
right, Quinshon Judkins.
Would I have preferred that type of player and that type of back? Yeah, but they have who they have, and they're going to tolerate giving him the ball.
They're going to tolerate it. They did give it to him 14 times. They ran a lot of plays. 38 throws, Bo's 26 of 38. They ran a lot of plays. In my keys to the game, I said you need to get. Don't get field goals. Get in the habit of getting touchdowns when you get down there. I particularly didn't love Sean's play calling when they threw it 3 straight times. I think for their second field goal when Cortland had Bo kind of put a lot on it. And Cortland dropped it, and then Cortland caught it, but he was out of bounds, and then Bo threw a dime to him in the end zone when he had a couple guys covering him, Cortland Sutton, and Cortland drops it. Like the play call on that third down. What do you make of that play calling, though? Because on first down, Cortland was open. Bo just doesn't make it happen. On third down, Cortland drops the ball. Maybe you run it there on second down, but it's hard to argue when 2 plays were touchdowns, and Cortland Sutton just doesn't execute.
Yeah, it was certainly force-feeding on that series, and I waver back and forth on that because you're right. If they just execute the play, they score, so why not go back to it and just do it right this time? So I can understand the thinking there, but I also have a little bit of concern when that is now on tape and you're against a playoff opponent and the game may be back and forth and you need a score. Are they going to know that you're just going to force feed Sutton because that's where you think your best chance to make a play is?
What should they have done there? I mean, I'm thinking, God, it's hard to say because that first down play, that was a touchdown. I mean, that was outright a touchdown. I feel you got to run the ball in there somewhere, and that's just kind of where I'm struggling. But you're right; it's 3 straight plays to Cortland Sutton. When they went away from that later on, Bo runs it, they score. And later on in the game, R.J. Harvey scores, so that they have some dynamics there, and they did switch it up. Has that been the pattern all year to just force feed Cortland down there? They seem to try it a lot. The Jacksonville game, there was he led him too much in the back of the end zone.
No, it seems to me it's more like in thirds or even quarters of the season. It definitely was to start the year. Then it wasn't for a big part of the middle of the year, and now it seems like they're going back to that when maybe the stakes are a little bit higher.
And that's that muscle memory I was worried about, that they'd become more dynamic as the year's gone, and then it seems they're starting to kind of go back to what they did early on in the year.
And maybe teams are forcing them back to that. I'm going to give Sean the benefit of the doubt because he's the guy that won 11 straight games, and he's the guy that has his team in position to take the 1 seed. So I'm going to let him have the free pass and do it the way he sees fit. I just wonder what that looks like when playoff opponents and when everything is overanalyzed and scrutinized and every single play, every single snap makes a difference. Is that something an opponent's going to take advantage of if they feel like you know where the ball is going in the red zone?
Rick texts in, right now I would put the Jags, Bills, Chargers, and maybe Pats ahead of the Broncos. They're starting to look more and more like a first-round playoff exit. At points last night, I think I felt that way throughout that game. I can see where that sentiment came in for sure because there was a lot of really frustrating aspects. A couple things I want to point out. The Broncos don't set the betting line. They don't say we're going to go out and win this game by 13.5 points. Somebody else does that. They're not obligated to live up to that. And they did win last night. Ultimately,
in December in Arrowhead, regardless of who took the field.
On a short week with Taylor Swift there. They ruined her Christmas. You can't get mad at that.
You think that ruined her Christmas?
Absolutely not.
By the way,
absolutely not.
Did you hear
Taylor's
Kelsey
doing
last
great.
night? Did you hear Kelsey in the postgame?
I did not. What did Travis Kelce say in the postgame last night? And also, when have you heard this before? For the first time ever, Nikola Jokic blank. We'll get into all of that next.
The Broncos took care of business in prime time and walked out of Arrowhead with a win. With just 1 game left in the regular season, as Sean Payton proved his team is ready for a playoff push. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
What is happening, fellas? Stoke here. Man, I love the holiday season. Full of hustle, bustle, packed with activity, right? But when your energy is drained and you're not sleeping well, your sex drive is nowhere to be found, and maybe it's stuff to feel festive. These could be signs of low testosterone. If that's what's going on, this is your season to take action and get treated. My friends at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, Jeff and his team, they're the absolute best. They can get you taken care of. Fellas, did you know early to your mid-30s, you start losing 2 to 3% of your testosterone production every year? And it happens gradually. And before you know it, you just don't feel like the same man you did in your 20s or 30s. But the good news is it doesn't have to be that way. Get that energy back. Start seeing those gains in the gym again. Start sleeping better. Life's too short. Most men wait a year longer to get treated, fellas. There's no need to wait. Don't go another season with low T. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic has served the Front Range of Colorado for nearly a decade, and they have successfully treated tens of thousands of men. They have 5 locations in Colorado to serve you: Fort Collins, North Denver, Central Denver, Castle Rock, and Colorado Springs. Call 720-440-7900, 720-440-7900, or you can find them online at RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Getting more as a MyLowe's Pro Rewards member is easier than ever with the Lowe's app. Download it today and earn 500 points the first time you log in. Plus, your digital wallet helps you scan, save, earn, and access what you need to manage it all in one place. Download the Lowe's app and take advantage of your Pro benefits today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid 12/1/25 to 1/7/26. Offer valid for first login per organization only. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Additional restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football. It's a pepper thing.
Winter is officially here, Denver, and Hermes Worldwide is your ride to all action. Whether you're bundling up to cheer on the Broncos at Empower Field or heading downtown to catch an Avs or Nuggets game, make sure you get there on time and in style. This holiday season, let Hermes Worldwide handle your Christmas light tours, festive nights out, and stress-free airport transfers. Skip the traffic, snow, and parking hassles. Ride in warm, comfortable luxury with a professional driver who gets you there safely. Book now at 303-577-7600 or visit ridehermes.com/DenverSports.
This holiday season, AutoNation is unwrapping the biggest gift of all, the car you actually want with 0 down and no payments for 90 days. With our coast-to-coast inventory of nearly 100,000 new and used cars, trucks, and crossovers, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. 0 down, no payments until April. That's the deal you deserve on the car you love. Hurry to your nearest AutoNation store or AutoNation.com. Limited term financing on approved credit. Interest accrues from date of purchase on deferred payments. See store for details.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Zach here. The holidays will be here before you know it, and for many families, that means excitement, but also stress. Between gifts, travel, and higher prices, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're already relying on credit cards to cover the basics. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. If you're a homeowner, you might have considered reaching out to my friends at American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. That's why American Financing created the Smart Equity Loan, a simple, smart way to get your finances back on track without giving up your low mortgage rate. Unlike a HELOC, which can fluctuate with the market, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate, so you'll have one predictable monthly payment. It lets you use your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt, free up cash flow, and still keep your existing mortgage intact. There are no upfront fees to find out if you qualify. Call American Financing at 303-695-7000 or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Wow, Leslie, your fireplace really sucks.
I beg your pardon?
Well, what I mean is your fireplace is literally sucking all the air out of your house and right up the chimney every time you burn it.
Well, what can I do about it?
Well, you could get a high-efficiency gas insert from Mendota. It keeps all the air you already paid the utility company to heat, and it returns up to 86% of the fire's heat back into your house.
I'd use my fireplace every chance I get if I could do that. Maybe my furnace wouldn't need to run so much.
Well, that's the whole point. Hi, this is Keith Lair with Lair Fireplace and Patio, along with my niece, Leslie, to tell you how a gas insert from Mendota will give you the incentive to use your fireplace again. Mendota gas fireplaces and inserts are made to crank out the heat with beauty and style.
Lair's is Denver's oldest, most trusted name in fireplaces. Family owned and operated since 1954.
We'll even give you a free in-home quote, including expert installation by our own certified in-house installers.
Find us on the web at lairfireplacepatio.com.
For top quality Mendota fireplaces and inserts, it's Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's fireplace experts.
Hey guys, it's Mark Schlereth. I just made one of the best decisions of my life. I got rid of my glasses. I went to Cutarelli Vision and had refractive lens exchange, RLE. I wore glasses for distance vision, but I got to that inevitable point in life where I was always needing those reading glasses just to do about anything, and half the time I couldn't find them. Seeing menus, texting, reading my computer, or studying film, it was a struggle. But now I see the world perfectly, near and far, without any glasses, thanks to Cutarelli Vision RLE, the perfect permanent solution to spending your good active years not needing reading glasses. And here's the cherry on top. You'll never develop a cataract. Dr. Cutarelli is Colorado's most experienced with over 90,000 vision correction procedures. You can trust him to know if it's the right time for you and RLE. Schedule your free Zoom consultation at coloradorle.com. Cutarelli Vision, RLE, no readers, glasses, or contacts, or cataracts. coloradorle.com.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Tune into Stokley and Evans with Mark Schlereth, Wednesdays at 9:15 to hear ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky break down Bo Nix and the Broncos every week during football season. Denver Sports, 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
So on Christmas Day, Nikola Jokic does what he regularly does, which is the game ends and then some statistician has to come out and go, okay, so this has never happened before. Jokic last night has the first triple-double that is a minimum of 55 points, minimum of 15 rebounds, and a minimum of 15 assists. He goes 56, 16, and 15 last night. Just an incredible performance from the best player in the world.
Yeah, it was a special one. I don't know how many people stayed up to watch it late on Christmas night. I know most of the country probably did not. Hopefully, if you're a fan here, it wasn't too late for you, and you capped off your Christmas with a wonderful nightcap from the best player in the world, and I hope you're truly enjoying it. and understanding how special he is, because this organization is never going to see anyone like him again. This town had John Elway, who is maybe the most talented quarterback that has ever played football, and now they have Nikola Jokic, who is the most skilled player that's ever played basketball.
Yeah, and last night, I mean, it's one of those games where this is kind of when you know you have a guy like an all-time great. And it's something we talked about Bo yesterday, and this isn't to turn it into Bo Nix, but we've yet to see from Bo that just take over the game. I'm the guy. You know, and Jokic, it's one of those things to where last night you're down 3 starters. Not only are you down 3 starters, you're down three guys with really good size going against a team that likes to play physical against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Nikola Jokic just decides there's just nothing you're going to do to stop me, and I'm going to go out here and win this game tonight. And that's what becomes hard to be another team in the NBA when another guy's like, do whatever you want, we're going to win tonight.
Yeah, and just think back to when the T-Wolves eliminated them after the championship season and the problems that Minnesota had given them, and then beat them every game for a year straight. It was size. It was the way they could come at Jokic in waves and come at Murray with a lot of length, and the Nuggets have solved that problem. And yes, the Wolves have changed a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker isn't there anymore. Karl Anthony Towns
Right.
isn't there anymore. So it's not exactly the same team that the Nuggets were dealing with at that point. But when they have a franchise and a guy who is making all the decisions for that franchise that used to run your team and knows you inside and out, particularly Jokic inside and out, and built a team specifically constructed to go through you because that was going to be the path to a championship, and now you've solved that problem. I mean, he had a 61-point triple-double against him last year. He had a 56-point triple-double against him this year. I think he's solved the Wolves.
Yeah, I think he's got him solved. And with the Wolves, Nickeil Alexander-Walker was a Nuggets killer for the past years. He wasn't the biggest name. He would hit big threes in moments they need. He was very good on defense.
His defense
he was very good
remarkable.
on defense. But they'd leave him open on offense all the time, and he made him pay. And, yeah, his defense, he was one of those guys, specifically with Jamal, that would cause a lot of problems there. This Nuggets team last night, one thing I found interesting is when a team can exercise the demons, if you will. The Wolves are down 13 with like 4 minutes left, and they come back, and then they jump out to a 9-0 run to start overtime. I mean, the Nuggets looked cooked, but they've gotten over that mental hurdle of the big bad wolf, if you will, and they're no longer scared of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think that is a huge thing heading into the postseason. I think that's just a sign, not just with the Wolves, that this Nuggets team we see right now, they're mentally different. On the court, they're different. When Jokic scores 50, it's because he dominated, not because he's so much. It's not the rest of the guys are playing bad, so Jokic has to score 50. Just the entire dynamic of how this team wins and how they play in tight situations is night and day to last year.
Yeah, and the shooting is such a huge part of this, even with guys out of the lineup, and Cam Johnson's not available out there. Aaron Gordon, the three-point shooter, he's become not available. The shooting is such an enormous difference because you've talked about this on a number of occasions. The ability to stop another team's run and stop the bleeding, and having Tim Hardaway available to do that with Jamal, with Jokic, guys out there, with Valanciunas out there, so that a 9-point deficit was turned around in like 80 seconds in overtime. Mm-hmm. It was like an 11-2 run, and it was less than a minute and a half that they did it because they can make shots. They're not putting guys out there that are just throwing up nothing but bricks. And, even a guy like Spencer Jones, who other teams are going to leave unguarded, can make shots. And it's just a different dynamic with the roster construction and then the belief they have around their two superstars. They can erase any deficit, and they can erase it in a hurry, almost in a manner of what like the prime Warriors were like for teams. It's like, you may think you're up double digits, but watch this. 90 seconds later, the game's tied or you're down.
And Jokic last night, I mean, when the Wolves were starting to go, he was hitting threes. He hit 4 threes last night. I mean, it's pretty incredible. One thing, just kind of on a more global look with the Nuggets, another key to last night, boy, the Timberwolves, Michael Porter Jr. had nothing for them when he was in Denver. And people want to pull up his stats and compare it to Cam, whatever. I just want to make this point. I'm happy Mike's cooking out there. Love Michael Porter Jr. for what he did for the Nuggets. At any point this year, have you thought, boy, if the Nuggets had Michael Porter Jr.?
No, not for 1 second. It's a ridiculous notion. It's a ridiculous notion. And to make the one-to-one comparison for Cam Johnson and Michael Porter Jr. is just, it's a false equivalency.
Right.
It's a false equivalency.
Because that's not what happened. That's not what the goal was with that trade.
And if you want to compare, the Nuggets with now the most potent, efficient offense of all time in the history of basketball, your comparison is, what is Michael Porter Jr. doing, and is he going to be an Eastern Conference All-Star for Brooklyn? Your comparison is against what is Cam Johnson and Jonas Valanciunas and Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway doing for Denver. Because it's 4 guys that were available to get because of the money that was freed up, the tax that would not have to be paid, and what they did in getting under the aprons and under the caps to do that. So any moron out there, any social media post that you see that is a one-to-one comparison of Cam Johnson stats versus Michael Porter Jr. stats, it's asinine. Disregard it. Don't pay attention to it. Do not repost it. I don't care if you're the biggest Michael Porter Jr. stan in the world. He's playing great. Good for him. He gets to chuck up a lot of shots on a terrible team. The Nuggets have the best offense of all time, and they got 4 players for him.
Yeah, love the way the Nuggets are. I love their just demeanor, their mental approach to the game this year. It's a lot different than last year. Chad, in the pregame and in our shows this week, we said somebody on the Denver Broncos doesn't have any answers to what they're seeing. Do we still feel that way after the game last night? We'll get into that next.
Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Denver Sports 1043 to stay up to date on all your local teams. Denver Sports 1043. The Fan.
Your air duct cleaning experts, Ductworks.
Hey guys, feeling cooped up this winter? Mark Schlereth here. You know these Colorado nights can get freezing cold with your furnace running non-stop just to keep things cozy. But here's the thing. While your heating system is working overtime, it's also blowing dust, dirt, and debris through your air ducts and straight into the air you breathe. That's where Ductworks comes in. Your trusted air duct cleaning experts. Using a powerful combination of scraping and vacuuming technology, the Ductworks team clears out years of buildup, grime, and other gunk hiding in your ductwork. The results? Cleaner, fresher air, better energy efficiency, and a healthier home or office for you and your family. Don't wait until spring. Breathe easier now with top-rated service from Ductworks. Call them at 303-425-0985 or visit them online today at ductworks.com for a free residential or commercial estimate.
303-425-0985.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com. CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/Investor Day.
At Postman Law, we're not your typical injury firm. Our lawyers have won at the U.S. Supreme Court, gone head-to-head with giants like Uber and Amazon, and recovered billions for clients. When you've been injured, having the right lawyer matters. PostmanLaw.com. Others promise. Postman delivers.
Call 844-POSTMAN. Attorney Advertising.
Hey, Mr. C, it's me. Well, I just picked up the ring. I actually went to Hellsberg. Thanks for that recommendation. Kate's gonna love that hers is from the same jeweler you got Mrs. C's ring from. They were so helpful throughout the whole process. They even knew your family by name, and the ring looks great. Anyways, I just couldn't wait to let you guys know. Call me back and wish me luck.
Hellsberg, designed with care and craft since 1915. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
Brandon Stokley from my friends at Roller Auction, leader in Colorado auctions for over 40 years. They conduct over 150 auctions every year, selling tens of thousands of items at the price you set. Auctions are held regularly for Colorado government agencies, and they always have big-ticket items at great prices. That's why I love Roller Auction. And almost all bidding is conducted online in real time, and it's open to the public. Anyone can participate. Check back regularly. New auctions are added weekly. Be the first to know about new auctions available for bidding when you sign up for email notifications. Go to rollerauction.com/thefan.
This is Terrell Davis, two-time world champion and Hall of Famer. I learned early in my career that winning takes teamwork. And in banking, that means choosing a partner that has your back. That's why I trust Colorado Credit Union, a local financial institution that has spent more than 50 years investing in our community and helping families build a strong financial future. To learn more, visit ccu.org or stop by any branch. Colorado Credit Union. Love where you live, love where you bank. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership eligibility required. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Xfinity. What if more reliable didn't mean more expensive? With Xfinity, you can get reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi for less. We're talking intelligent gig-speed Wi-Fi for $50 a month. This holiday season through January 4th, Xfinity is offering their best price on gig-speed Wi-Fi, guaranteed for 5 years. No contracts, no strings attached. You could save $3,000 over Verizon and AT&T. Imagine getting super fast Wi-Fi at the same price for 5 years. Get everything you need from Xfinity, their best Wi-Fi equipment, and even unlimited data, all included at their best price. Get ready to be wowed by your Wi-Fi. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto-paid with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary. Savings based on promo and post-promo prices for 1 gig internet, 1 unlimited line, and Peacock Premium versus Verizon 1 gig internet and AT&T 1000 internet and 1 unlimited starter SL line.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're ready to improve your health. But if you're feeling low energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing results in the gym, keeping that resolution can be tough. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if those symptoms sound familiar, we can likely help. They often point to low testosterone, and treating low T is what we do. But this year, we're also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring growth hormone peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more, designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. With our low T treatments combined with our body composition programs, most men notice real improvements: more energy, better focus, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and often a renewed sex drive as well. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or visit RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Need a new water heater? Euro Plumbing has lifetime warranties, great financing, and low pricing. 720-500-3000. 720-500-3000.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
Heading into last night's game, Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, the Broncos defense had gone from the toast of the town. You know, is this an all-time great defense? Some people thought they might set the sack record. I do not think that's happening anymore. But Chad, overall, Broncos defense, I felt they were fine last night. Nothing exceptional.
Yeah, it helps that they weren't on the field very much.
Right.
I mean, only a third of the game. They were fine. The one thing that was a little bit concerning, we were both hoping for, was to give problems to Chris Oladokun in his first start and to potentially force at least one, if not multiple turnovers, and they didn't do that. There was not any point in the game where I thought that Oladokun was uncomfortable and concerned about them coming to get him, and they definitely didn't force any turnovers. So, I mean, Kansas City only had 10 first downs, so you know, they played well enough, but given the circumstances, I would have liked to seen a little bit more of them dictating how that game was going to go.
Yeah, they did get 7 quarterback hits on him, but that feels high based on what I saw. But they were hitting him. He was kind of launching it deep, and Chris Oladokun did not protect himself well at certain times. But to your point, as far as making him uncomfortable, I agree. At no point did he look uncomfortable. I texted you because I found it funny. He dropped the ball all on his own, had time to pick it up, and then complete the pass for a first down. That should not be happening with a guy that's never started and wasn't even suiting in the NFL this year.
Yeah, when that play happened, I was like, "What is 15 out there?"
Yeah,
like
right.
that was a Mahomes play.
Right.
Like drop the ball, pick it up yourself, complete a pass for a first down. That was a bit concerning. It just didn't look like there was a lot of a jump, a lot of spark. It looked like it was just a very workmanlike effort with nothing special to it.
Right,
on the defensive side.
And to your point with the turnovers, you got to force them at some point. I mean, I get sometimes, you pressure a guy, you sack a guy, there's a lot of throwaways. But I mean, God, he was 13 to 22. And you've got to find a way in there, whether it be a strip sack. If you're not getting interceptions, you've got to pop that ball out. They're not sneaking up on the quarterback right now, which wasn't their style all year. The Broncos' defensive style to pressure the quarterback all year was, we're going to beat you up. We're going to be in your face. Not a lot of that coming blindside, hitting from behind. But at some point, you got to do things like that. With a quarterback like this, it just felt like they were almost okay keeping him in front of them, which maybe that did work. I mean, they didn't really have a lot of success unless they had a short field last night, the Chiefs. But at no point was there this just like they're just making this guy's life a living hell out there. And no turnovers. It just, again, it was fine given the opponent, and you probably figured if we don't do anything reckless, we're okay. But God, to walk away with no turnovers on a guy that's never played an NFL game, it's hard, other than end of the game last week.
Yeah, and I don't want it to sound like we're complaining about it. I mean, the guy threw for 66 yards.
Right, they didn't do anything.
There was no threat of Kansas City doing a whole lot, especially in the passing game. It was 3 yards per attempt. So, the defense did its job. They just didn't do anything beyond what was required.
What did concern me, and you've seen it with quarterbacks in recent weeks, and you're going to end up you're for sure getting Justin Herbert next week, most likely, unless the Chargers are solidified with wherever they're at. You're probably going to get you might get CJ Stroud. You might get Drake May, Josh Allen. The middle of the field is wide open for the quarterback to take off running. Oladokun, he had times last night where he could have taken off. He had times last night that he did take off. It feels if you can survive that initial edge rush, there's just nothing in the middle. And maybe that's the injuries they're suffering at safety and middle linebacker. But you had a guy last night that just didn't have the instincts to fully take advantage and kill you with that. You're not going to have that luxury from now until the Super Bowl if that's where you want to end up.
Yeah, and one of the things that Soren Petro brought up from WHB when he was on the Fan Football pregame show yesterday was he didn't think that Oladokun would use his legs a whole lot because they still have to play another game. They don't want to get him killed because they have no other quarterbacks.
Right.
So while he might have been capable of doing it, he might have been warned saying, hey, this is not the best idea. We don't want to lose another guy and have to play a game without you. Like, you get a chance to put your passing game on tape for 2 games, so take advantage of it. Don't be reckless running the ball. So that could have played into it a little bit as well. He actually played probably a little bit better than I expected him to, which sounds odd to say when he threw for 66 yards. But he looked composed to me. It didn't look like he was getting rattled at all. And Andy Reid did keep it very basic for him. They tried to focus on running the ball first, but it didn't work out. They only had the ball for 20 minutes of the game.
Converted a couple nice third downs in that game, specifically on that drive after the interception. That was kind of a concern for me too, is we got a big moment. We can kind of establish early on this game's over, and they convert that third down. Now understand, it's Andy Reid, and tip of the cap to him for preparing this kid on 3 days' notice to come out there and look composed and look comfortable. That was a really good job by the Kansas City Chiefs over there. Maybe I'm nitpicking, but when you control the clock the way the Broncos did, 13 points seems like a lot to allow against that quarterback.
Yeah, and I said yesterday, if the Chiefs score more than 10, it's going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. And it's because of, one, the interception gave them field position to score, and then they had a long kick return, which flipped the field. So Special teams, offensive turnovers didn't help matters for the defense. I thought this game would be 23-10, so I was off by a field goal on each side.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit concerning that he looked as comfortable as he did against the defense. But again, at the end of the day, you should win any game when the opponent only scores 13 points. And honestly, they probably only should have had 10 or so.
Yeah, and a texter texted, and this is true. Sean Payton said after the game the plan was not to go after the quarterback, keep him in front of him. I understand that Sean did say that, and that's what it looked like. We commented on that. You could tell by the lack of crazy pressure, but still, keeping everything in front of you doesn't always mean the middle of the field has a quarterback sneak for 25 yards right in front of it. Keeping it in front of you doesn't mean you don't get any turnovers. That was the plan, and I understand why they did that, because they probably figured, hey, we'll stop him here. But what you don't account for on something like that is a big punt return and an interception. In those situations with the short field, it's no longer being between the 20s type situation. You have to kind of change up what you do there, and they still tried to run that keep them in front of them stuff, and it led to points in both situations.
Yeah, but I mean, it was only 13, right? I think there was a comfortability level with Sean, with Vance, with the team overall saying, okay, we made a couple mistakes, we gave them field position, and they capitalized on it, but we know they're not going to go the length of the field on us.
How about that last drive?
I still don't think they were concerned. I mean, it's not like they were on the 3.
No, but they did go down the field pretty quickly. I mean, ultimately the Broncos held. Let me say this: I never thought the Broncos would lose. As frustrated as I was at parts of that game, I always felt that they were going to win the game. But they made it tight, and they didn't just salt the game away there at the end either. I mean, there was an opportunity for the Chiefs there. Again, it's 13 points. I am nitpicking a little bit. I understand they executed the game plan. They got out of there with a win. It's just the bounce back from the defense maybe wasn't what I thought. I also want to say this. I think it's important. I don't think Benito played a ton last night. I haven't looked at the snap counts. That's probably a good thing if you're able to actually give him some rest, because that arm has got every contraption on it you could want.
Let's see if we have the total.
We'll come back. Yeah, we'll come back with that, and we'll continue going. We'll go to the offensive side of the ball. Bo Nix, what do we make of his game last night? We do all that next on the Fan. I almost said the Fan Football pregame show, Chad. I'm used to doing that. We're sitting in for the fellas. We'll get into all that next.
Follow us on X at DEN Sports 1043 for up-to-the-minute information and opinions on all things Denver sports. Also, we can still call it Twitter, right? Denver Sports 1043 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app.
How about a simple New Year's resolution? One that even I could achieve. Reverse the clock on hair loss with Advanced Hair's simple one-day FUE treatment. You will feel more confident and more youthful when you witness your own natural hair growing into those places that have been balding or thinning for years. From Advanced Hair's breakthrough technology to their highly experienced team, there's no one I trust more in hair restoration. Their simple FUE treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day, and your new hair is backed by the Advanced Hair Guarantee. I know from personal experience. I had this done 20 years ago with Advanced Hair Restoration. Advanced Hair's exceptional standard of care makes your comfort and your results their top priority. So celebrate this new year with a fuller head of hair and get a free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts. Just call 720-459-HAIR. That's 720-459-HAIR. Discover what meeting your resolution could look like with the before and after pictures at advancedhair.com. That's advancedhair.com.
This holiday season, don't drink and drive. But if you are in an accident, you're in luck. Flanagan Law, where strength meets compassion. While the other guys blend in, I stand out. Look for the Shamrock. Flanagan Law, your advocate when you need it most.
It's the end of the year, and the holidays are finally here. It's tax break time at O'Mara GMC, and your new Sierra 2500 could qualify you for a major tax deduction.
Drive the truck you need and potentially write off a big portion of it at tax time.
Sierra 2500, just $685 a month. But don't wait. The tax deduction window is closing fast.
It's O'Mara GMC's holiday tax break. Ask for stock SF323923. Stop by O'Mara GMC on 104th or OmaraGMC.com.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
So it was the fourth quarter and we're down by 5. Sweat pouring down my face. Suddenly it hit me. If only I could wrap part of the towel around my forehead. And that's how I became the first basketball player to wear a headband.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Out on the course, they're the PGA Tour's best players. But in the arena, they're prime time. And Season 2 of TGL presented by SoFi is back with lights, cameras, action. We're talking big moments, big personalities, big names in the stands, all on the big screen. Big-time matchups with shot clocks, hammer drops, timeouts, overtime, and playoffs. It's city versus city, squad versus squad. The sport just hits different under the lights. It's TGL presented by SoFi. Keep up. It's golf. Tune into every match. Only on ESPN.
Cake Mortgage Corp. Equal Housing Lender. NMLS number 1734623. Licensed in Colorado by the Division of Real Estate. Terms and conditions apply. These days, we expect everything fast. Streaming, food delivery, even same-day shipping. So why should using the equity in your home to get cash be any different? At Cake Mortgage, we get fast. We just got a client approved for $300,000 in under 24 hours with our Cake Fast Cash program. If you're struggling with high-interest debt, roll it into one low monthly payment and save hundreds or more each month. The best part? You'll keep your current mortgage rate and only pay for what you use. Cake Mortgage. Your fresh-baked fast cash loan is ready to enjoy. So don't wait. Call 720-850-0012. That's 720-850-0012. Or visit cakehome.com for thousands of 5-star reviews.
Hey Broncos country, it's Terrell Davis here. You know, in the game of life, our most valuable asset is our health.
At Fitness Gallery, we have deals everywhere, up to 50% off. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. We have you covered.
This holiday, imagine the finest jewelry legends all in a store where they treat you like family.
Decory, Hearts on Fire, Gabriel and Company, Lika Bahar, and dozens more, all in one store.
Imagine a diamond bar with almost every size, shape, and price range. GIA Diamond.
And all the top bridal designers, including A. Jaffe, Parade, and Decory.
Add to that Tag Heuer watches and our curated pre-owned Rolex timepieces. And we've got something for everyone you love. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Michelle's dad, Bruce Williams, inviting you to Williams Jewelers. We've built Denver's most trusted family-owned jeweler with one vision.
To be your family's jeweler for life.
For that perfect diamond engagement ring.
The ultimate holiday gift.
Or just because you deserve it. Williams Jewelers in beautiful Cherry Creek North.
Now, imagine their face Christmas morning.
This holiday, come to Williams Jewelers.
Where Colorado shines.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
The official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan, powered by Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic.
Get ready for every Broncos game with Super Bowl 50 champion Brandon Marshall as he joins the drive every Friday afternoon at 4:45 exclusively on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Thanks to Corwin Toyota Boulder. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. DenverSports.com and the Denver Sports app. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
John Davis and Chad Andrews sitting in for the fellas this morning. Alex Becker behind the glass. 303-713-1043, ramoslot.com text line. Text in. Let us know what you thought. Broncos or Nuggets. 2 big wins last night. Chad, you put your name on it. By the way, if you disagree with us or you think we're stupid, as long as you're cool about it, text in, sign your name. We like that you're listening. You give us your time. You're allowed to think whatever you want of us. Just be cool about it. We got a text in from somebody, my God, we won. Every other comment prefaced with my concern. Let's enjoy this. Okay, so they played perfect last night, the Denver Broncos. I think that's the thing is you and I both said on the pregame, get the win. We were not style points. I'm happy that they won. I'm fine with the way they won, but to think about things like tackles for losses that we saw in the offense, Bo not setting his feet, middle of the field open on defense. There's things we've had that you could get away with last night, but we've seen them show up against Jacksonville, against Green Bay, against the Chargers that have cost them. We want those things cleaned up.
Gratitude's an important skill in life. It's something I've had challenges with throughout the course of my life. I absolutely understand 100%. what the texter is saying there, look, they swept the Raiders and the Chiefs, and that is something to celebrate and be excited about. And they have a chance to go 5-1 and win the division and get the number 1 seed. All of those things are wonderful, and they're great. I don't think that Sean Payton is all too impressed with that. So I'm taking the cue from the head coach, from the organization, and what their stated goals are and the direction they want to go to. And everything is being presented under the context of not that we're ungrateful for the fact that the Broncos won a game and how they won a road game at Arrowhead in December. It's not that it's that at all. It's the fact that the goal is to win the Super Bowl. Exactly. And if you're trying to achieve your goal, there are concerns. There are things that have to be different against other teams with the same stated goal. So it all depends on what context you want to look at it. If you just want to look at this game in a bubble, in a vacuum, and say it was a December game in Arrowhead and you swept the Chiefs, well then, yeah, celebrate. Throw a parade today. Enjoy your amazing, beautiful blue and orange sunrise this morning
great
out there.
If you can look outside.
That's incredible. Yeah, look outside if you're up right now in the Denver area. The sunrise is amazing, right? If that's all you want to do is live in the moment and enjoy that, great. But I can tell you, the head coach and the organization's goals are much bigger than just enjoying the win over Kansas City.
Yeah, the margin for error now is small. We're analyzing this through, okay, where they're at now, can they beat the Buffalo Bills here or there? Can they beat the New England Patriots? Are we scared of playing the Jaguars again? Because in those types of games, allowing an interception early in the game, it could ruin the whole game. Allowing a 45-yard punt return, or was that a kick return? Whatever it was, allowing that in the third quarter of a close game against Josh Allen, against Justin Herbert, against now Trevor Lawrence, that costs you. That's 7. You don't got a third-string quarterback. So happy they won. You and I did not care if it was by 3, 7, 10. Get in their short week division win. Get it. But that was a get-right game to clean up some things. Not sure everything was all the way cleaned up.
Well, and that's the phrase that Sean, I think, has been forced to use too many times this season. We'll clean that up. We'll clean that up. We'll clean that up. Well, we're going into the last game of the regular season. How much time is left to clean things up?
Right. It's you kind of are who you are at some point, and I think that's kind of a big one. We got some good text coming in here. My concern, this is Jay. Riley Moss continues to miss tackles. Got lucky when the receiver stepped out of bounds, but this is becoming an issue. Not just Riley. I think Alex Singleton missed another one again last night. That was one of those, Vance, we'll get that taken care of. That was one of those. The Broncos, after the Jaguars game, the Broncos message was kind of, that won't happen again, and then it happened again last night. That's another one. That's a fundamental thing that you're very much in control of.
Yeah. Look, I stated my position on this team very early in the season, and I'm not going to change it now because the circumstances are different or the stakes are higher. I just asked them to figure out a way to win games, and that's enough. I never expected this team to be flashy or necessarily look like they are a dominant, overwhelming favorite in any regard. Just figure out a way to win.
Right.
And that is enough. It's been enough to this point. It's going to have to be the way I approach the postseason, because if I'm looking for style points, I'm gonna go away disappointed. We have enough disappointment as sports fans. Everybody loses every year except for one team. So I still think they have a chance to have a good, strong run and have a special season. But the fact that there are some of these things that haven't changed over the course of the year, at some point you just have to accept this is who they are.
Somebody texts in, keep them coming in. We're getting a lot. 303-713-1043, RamosLaw.com text line. Last night wasn't the Super Bowl. It was a Thursday night game coming off a short week, and we are 3-13. Who messed with your Cheerios? We've said like 5 times in this segment, we just wanted the win last night, and we were going to take the win last night. My counter to that was, okay, did you see a Super Bowl team? In the past 6 days, have you seen a guaranteed Super Bowl Broncos team? I think they can go to the Super Bowl. I'm not off of that. I think they can. But again, we come back to, you don't get to do certain things against the Bills against the Patriots, against whether it's the Jags or the Texans, and just think it's going to be okay. Those mistakes will cost you dearly, and it's not just last night. It's the Jacksonville game. They won last night. I don't think they were ever going to lose last night. But again, coming back to it, there's just things with this team that I think are legitimate concern. They get a 10-day break. The last time they got a 10-day break, they came out and they beat Kansas City. They've got a chance against Justin Herbert next week to prove that everything's fine.
Yeah, I think last night, the biggest reason I'm not going to sweat it, one, the short week, but now it set up exactly the way we had discussed over the last couple of days. They have the mini bye week now, the extra days to get ready for the biggest game of their season and put themselves in position to only have to win 2 home games to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think there's anybody that is poo-pooing where they are in their situation. But, like, people hear what they choose to hear. You can't hear Jimmy, right? You may be listening, but you can't hear Jimmy. Right. I don't know what, some of you people with the texts that are coming in, I don't know what exactly it is you think you're hearing from us. They're in position with 10 days off to win a game to have the number 1 seed in the AFC. They're in an ideal position for any team in the NFL at this point to put yourself in a spot to set yourself up to make a run to the Super Bowl. But we're not going to sit here and say like the last 2 games they've played or the last month the defense has played is giving you the utmost confidence that they will take advantage of that and be there. Like, we're not booking a ticket to Santa Clara based on the way they've played since the bye week.
My brother wants to.
Well, I mean, if it's a deal right now and it's refundable, go for it. But I don't think he's going to Santa Clara to watch the Jags play the Rams.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Somebody wrote, and then find positives. There was a lot of positives last night. I thought Bo Nix played really well in the second half. I thought the play calling, and we'll get into a lot of this. I think there was a lot to like overall about last night. They did get away with the win. They're scoring more often, much less 3 and outs with the Broncos. There is a lot to lean on. And most of all, I think, it's an ugly game. You knew how to win. They do know how to win now. I don't care about the line last night. I think that was a big one. I think every Broncos fan should be happy they won today. I don't think it should be approached like a loss. I know what Justin Herbert's capable of. I know what C.J. Stroud is capable of, and that Texans defense for all of that. And I want the Broncos to get to a point to where if you lose, you're in this good battle. It can't be miscues. I get that it's Thursday night. Just because it's Thursday night, you don't get to allow a 45-yard kick return. You don't get to blow it in the red zone consecutive times when you could put the game away. There's things that were on the line, Thursday night or not, that the Broncos needed to do better.
Well, the other team's playing on Thursday night too.
Right.
So they can figure out how to stop you, or they can figure out how to execute on the kick return on the short week, but you can't.
Right.
Like, it's not just one team who's forced into the situation. It's not like the Chiefs were coming off a bye.
Right.
They're playing with a third-string quarterback, but they figured out how to keep themselves competitive in the game.
It was a good win.
It's hard to win on the road in the NFL.
It is. It was
especially in the division. They had to kick a last-second field goal to beat this team at home, and I understand it's very different when it's not Patrick Mahomes, when it's not all the starters in their receiving core. I get that. They won on the road. Be happy about it. Be thankful for the position that they're in. Move on with the understanding that it has to be better if they're going to make a run to the Super Bowl, and that is the goal, right? I've always been a guy on radio, television, voiceover, any of the stuff I'm doing on air. I never liked practice runs. I don't like rehearsing. Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, we'll figure it out. Just turn the mic on and we'll go.
Don't do the show before the show.
Right. Just, we'll figure it out as we go. And, you'll make it out of this. We'll make it out of this. And then we'll do it when it happens. Right. I'm not a fan of the dry run and the rehearsal. And you have to put the Broncos in that position of, don't worry about what it looks like before it matters. Worry about what it looks like when it matters.
Worry about what it looks like when it matters. One last thing, good text here. Somebody pointing out one of the major problems with the Broncos is they are not fixing the problems they said they were going to fix. And that's kind of, I think, where a lot of it is. And a lot of this is, somebody said nervous Nellies. You're right, because I want to win the Super Bowl. And so when it's not looking exactly the way. But they got the win last night. I think it's fantastic they got the win last night. I did not want a Styles points win. I just wanted a victory last night. But we will continue to react to the Broncos. The Nuggets had a big win last night. We do that and more next in 4 Down Territory.
The Broncos took care of business in prime time and walked out of Arrowhead with a win. With just 1 game left in the regular season, as Sean Payton proved his team is ready for a playoff push. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Men, the new year is here, and improving your health may be one of your big resolutions, but when you're tired, low on energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing progress in the gym, staying committed can be tough. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic can help with that resolution because those symptoms are often signs of low testosterone to go along with brain fog, feeling sad or depressed, loss of sex drive. Good news, the folks at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic are here to put you into that resolution mode. They can customize a plan for you to get you and your T levels back to normal. Low T, nothing to feel bad about. It's common. We guys, early to mid-30s, start losing 2 to 3% of our testosterone production every year. So do me a favor, go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com, take their low T quiz, 10 simple yes or no questions, could give you a better idea if your T levels are low. Then schedule a consult, just $99. Start low T treatment that day, your office visit is free. 5 locations around Denver to better serve you, including Fort Collins and Colorado Springs, and a new and improved office in Castle Rock. Call 720-440-7900 and at RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
With Steel, batteries are included. This holiday season, give a gift that's ready to go right out of the box. For everything from cleaning up the yard to cutting up firewood, Steel tools check off the wish list and knock out the to-do list. And right now, buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit SteelUSA.com for holiday deals and gift ideas. Happy holidays from Steel. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
The Ford end-of-the-year savings event is happening now at Siltahar Motors. Get 0% financing for up to 60 months, 0 down payment, and no payments for 90 days on select models, including all remaining 2025 F-150s, America's and Denver's best-selling truck. Conveniently located at Highway 36 in Wadsworth, or shop their entire inventory with sale pricing at sthmotors.com. Happy holidays from Siltahar Motors. Get everything you want out of a dealership.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
John Davis, Chad Andrus, filling in for the guys. It's now time for 4 Down Territory.
Welcome to 4 Down Territory, where Stokley and Evans with Mark Schlereth keep you up to date on the latest buzz from around the Denver sports scene and beyond. Kicking it off with First Down.
Chad, in the history of the NFL, nobody's ever got a triple-double with a minimum of 55 points, a minimum of 15 rebounds, and a minimum of 15 assists. But it now has happened. It happened on Christmas night with the best player in the entire world, Nikola Jokic.
In the NFL? You said the NFL.
It has not happened in the NFL. It has never happened in the NFL. It also had not happened in the NBA prior to last night. But that's no longer true, Nikola Jokic.
The guy's incredible. Enjoy this while you can. And, you know, all the people that want to complain about Broncos-style points or why are you talking about style points, Nikola Jokic has style points.
Yeah.
He puts a cap on everything, and he leaves no doubt for any opponent or potential opponent that They have to figure out what they're going to do to try and mitigate or handle this guy in a playoff series, or they're going to be doomed because he figures everything out. He's figured out Minnesota. He's now had a 61-point and a 56-point triple-double against the Wolves in the last 2 years. I hope you stayed up to watch it last night. It was truly special. Another unbelievable performance from the most unstoppable offensive force the game has ever seen.
It's got to be so irritating to be another team, and there's just literally, you're on the sidelines going, there's nothing we can do. He's going to score. He's going to score where he wants. He's going to score how he wants. And then he's also going to kick the ball out and make sure everybody else scores along the way.
Yeah, and those other guys can now make shots, which is the part that was missing for a large part of his era here in Denver, is the guys around him can make the shots, which is why you see him leading the league in assists as opposed to being 8 or 9 or coming close to averaging that triple-double. Now it's more than 10 a game because those other guys are making every shot he kicks out when, despite Tim Hardaway having a rough three-point shooting last night, he's been amazing this year. Bruce
and he
Brown
came through
back
late, and he hit one when they really needed it to kick it to go in overtime. I mean, to get the overtime comeback coming, and that's just that.
Look, I've had this discussion with some of my my hardcore basketball people, my NBA guys, and if you think back to Paris in the 2024 Olympics,
right.
LeBron James is starting to come around a little bit and give public recognition to Jokic, and he did it with Steve Nash on his podcast. These guys would never say this publicly. They would never admit to it because they don't want to diminish their own legacy and their own accomplishments. The reason Team USA basketball in 2024 called themselves the Avengers is because they knew it would take every single one of them to defeat Thanos. And it did.
Yeah, it did.
And that's what he is offensively in the NBA. He's Thanos.
It took Steph Curry having to go, sicko mode in that game, basically.
And Kevin Durant.
To take down one guy. Jokic, it's just, and Durant, kind of what got lost last week because he was quoted talking about Bruce Brown, as he did say Nikola Jokic is top 10, and then he actually said maybe top 5 player of all time. To your point, they can't not. I mean, it's getting to a point where it's like, I don't think you can do it. And one thing that I think is a lot of those guys realize that they maybe wouldn't say, and this isn't me diminishing Kevin Durant or LeBron James or anybody. Could you have won a championship in Denver? Could you have elevated? LeBron probably could. But it's just the larger point. It wasn't just that he won a championship. It's just not. It's not all of that. It's coming off those, just where the organization was, what he allowed him to do, how he's elevated it, how he makes being a Denver Nugget a place where people are signing extensions where that wasn't previously happening. LeBron could have done that, but the larger point is the accomplishments individually are great, but how he's elevated a franchise and changed basketball is something that I think these other guys are realizing. Maybe only he's the guy that could have done that.
And they're also understanding just the efficiency and the effectiveness and how incredibly difficult that is, because nobody has ever done it at the level he has done. And they've experienced things on the court, like coming out of their timeout with their inbounds play where they need a basket, and Jokic is directing everybody because he knows what the play is and where the switches are going to be and who's going to end up where. And he's telling the other team where they're supposed to be on the floor because he knows what's going to happen. And that's something you don't see from the other greats of the game and a lot of the great American players. They understand that. He is playing a level of chess that is different because he manipulates the game better than anyone ever has on that end of the floor.
It's incredible. Real quick, good text here. The Nuggets better figure out how to beat San Antonio and OKC. They know how to beat OKC. San Antonio, I'll give you that. They got to figure out how to win that one.
A lot of teams are going to have to figure out how to beat the Spurs, and it's going to be for a long time.
Yeah, it's so. Somebody asked in, we're going to be hearing from Sean Payton here in a second. We've got some good audio on that. But second down, we've been critical of this Broncos win last night. We've also said some good things about it, but we want them to get a win. The point I'm making is, even if you think it was an ugly win, even if you're nervous after that win, at least you're not the Detroit Lions, who allowed 3 net passing yards yesterday and lost to the Minnesota Vikings and got themselves eliminated from the playoffs. As ugly as the win can be, as depleted as the opponent could have been, at least you didn't do what Detroit did yesterday.
That's what makes this that much more important and why the concerns come to light. Because think about Detroit being the number 1 seed last year. Think about Detroit having control of the game a couple years ago in San Francisco with a chance to go to the Super Bowl and missing their opportunities.
Yes.
All right. The Broncos the last 2 seasons have swept the NFC South and the NFC East. They went on an 11-game winning streak this year. You think those things are going to happen when they have the NFC West on the schedule next year?
Right.
You have to take advantage of the opportunity. That's why people get concerned and talk about the things they need to clean up. You're not going to go on an 11-game win streak every season and be in position with a home game for the number 1 seed at the end of the year every year.
With Mahomes not in the playoffs.
That is why you nitpick right now. The opportunity is right now. Look at the Detroit Lions. Don't blow it.
Yeah, don't, because, and now they've got to make some organizational changes. It's hard to climb as far as you can go and then get back on the horse and do it again. Things change, injuries happen, other teams get better. That's what. How do you think?
Talk about the Nuggets.
Yes.
Look, if everything went perfect for the Nuggets for the Jokic era, they'd be chasing championship number 4 right now.
Right.
But they had 2 seasons without Jamal Murray for a postseason. They had 2 years where Michael Malone wouldn't play the roster he had and the front office wouldn't give him the roster he wanted. That's 4 years of blowing a window. And right now they have 1 championship, and they're facing a very big uphill battle given the competition in the Western Conference to win a 2nd championship. So don't take your chances for granted.
And then the flip side is they've got the one, how would you like to be the Timberwolves, who may have missed their shot now that Victor Wembanyama is here, and now that OKC looks like they're not going anywhere. Minnesota might have missed their shot. Dallas missed, and they get rid of Luka. So it's the Nuggets should have 4. They did get the 1. The Phoenix Suns, they blew it. And, so you've got to get it. And that's why with the Broncos right now, Lamar and the Ravens, they're reeling. Mahomes is not in the playoffs. Josh Allen's incredible, but that is a beatable Buffalo Bills team. It's to the point now to where, honestly, going into the playoffs for me, and we're going to – this is 3rd down, AFC playoff picture. For me, I got the Broncos and the Texans as the 2 teams I like the most going into the playoffs out of the AFC, just simply with how they win the game. But it could easily be the Chargers. It could easily be the Patriots. All these teams are so tightly – they're so close to each other in this AFC playoff picture right now as it stands. The 4 division leaders, Broncos in the 1 seed, Patriots 2, Jaguars 3, and then Chargers and Bills in the wild card with the Steelers and the Texans in the hunt. The Steelers are 4th. But it's really tight there, but this is very winnable for the Broncos.
You didn't mention the Jags. I found that interesting. You didn't mention Jacksonville in your list of the teams that you like, because I would definitely like Jacksonville more than New England.
I'd have the Jags over New England. Look, that's the thing. Any team could do it. It's you got to kind of be scared of all these teams right now in the AFC. There's no bully. There's no Patriots or Chiefs, and it's like you're gonna have to go through that no matter what. And they've been there. There's none of that. Look, the Broncos, if they play the Jags again, the Broncos could beat the brakes off of them. The Jags could beat them again. The Broncos could beat the Patriots could beat the Jaguars. Everything is so close there. The way the Broncos and Texans know how to win and the way they play defense, if the Broncos get back on track, I just stylistically like them and the way they're coached the best to get them through.
But that is why we have the discussions we have. For all the texters that are upset with us for looking at the win last night critically, because it is so close, because any game could go either direction, you have to bring up the fact that the Broncos, against a beat-up offensive line and a third-string quarterback, could only sack him 1 time. You have to bring up the fact that they were force-feeding the ball to their number 1 receiver, and he couldn't catch it last night.
Yes.
Like, those are things that make the difference in those matchups. That's why we discuss them.
And I don't think the response to, you bring up Cortland Sutton's drop, those were, not only were they drops, last week he dropped the deep ball on the trick play. I think that would have landed them in the red zone. The drops last night were in the red zone. Those were touchdowns. And I don't think it's easy to just say, oh, well, he'll catch it in the playoffs. Like that's not proven. That's hope. What we're seeing right now is what we're seeing that actually happened was he's dropped the ball. And he's dropped the ball in key moments. And Bo's passes have been erratic in other areas. We're seeing things that have happened, and we have to see them not happen to believe that they'll stop.
And we've heard, at least 8-9 times this season, Sean Payton in the postgame, we'll clean that up. We'll clean that up. We'll clean that up. A lot of it has been about the penalties throughout the course of the season, but there's no more time left.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is a high-stakes game going forward now. There's no more time to clean up. You have your 10 days before you play the Chargers. Then the room's got to be clean, and it's got to be spotless if you're going to make a run.
And if you get the win against the Chargers, you get yourself another week to get healthy. This team does look exhausted. One other concern that I think's developed, and it didn't pop up as much, and I see some people on the RamosLaw.com text line saying it, 303-713-1043. The missed tackles last night was probably pretty average for rate. You're going to miss tackles in a game. I think the issue became a new problem against the Jaguars. It's like, okay, not only are we not playing great, a new problem has emerged. Everybody's a little more sensitive to it last night when Riley Moss misses the one. I think it was Xavier Worthy. He stepped out. And then Alex Singleton misses one in the backfield. It's one of those like, oh no, is this a new problem emerging? I think it did settle down last night. There was a lot of good tackling last night. But again, it's not just that things aren't cleaned up. New problems may have presented themselves.
Well, if you tell me right now that the Broncos are going to beat the Chargers and have the 1 seed, then there's 10 days off, and then there's another 2 weeks off before you play a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
So fatigue is no longer an issue.
Right,
you don't have tired as an excuse, so I don't expect any missed tackles when you play your divisional round playoff game at home.
And to end 4 down territory right here, 4th down, Chad, I am not a guy that blames the referees, but that was bad last night from the officials.
It's been bad a few weeks
Broncos.
in a row.
The Broncos are getting, I'm not one of those, the refs are screwing us, it's a conspiracy, but what did Ben Powers do to get that false start? That is about as egregiously bad of a call as I can remember seeing, because that's not vague. You either do it or you don't. He didn't do it. That was at it. That was nuts.
It's been 3 weeks in a row. It was bad in the Packers game, right? The Riley Moss interference call before the Josh Jacobs touchdown run. It was bad in the Jacksonville game with the PJ Locke play, with the Malcolm Roach play, with even where the Broncos benefited. It was the same situation as the week before with a bad PI and then a long touchdown run right after. It was just the Packers did it, and then the Broncos did it the next week with R.J. Harvey after the Jags got called for a bad PI. It's been questionable 3 weeks in a row. I don't know what you're supposed to do about it. I shouldn't bring this up. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Chris Jones at the end of the game, though, it did appear like he was back without making contact before Miners left. So should that have been called?
Great call.
Great call because it benefited the Broncos.
Yeah, but they had gotten things even out, generally speaking. That, by the way, that never works. The lineup try to draw off sides.
Chris Jones
never
versus
works.
the line of scrimmage is quite a battle
right.
in his history.
Oh, yeah, the Patriots playoff game. But
only cost him a trip to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and then Sean Payton coming out saying afterwards, yeah, we would have. We'll list that later. But that never works. But, brilliant call by Sean. You put R.J. Harvey in the Wildcat, you throw him a look that they didn't expect right there, line up, and I think it was Miners, they said, was doing the hut on that, and it got him. And Quinn Miners' sprint with his hand in the air celebrating was one of the most hilarious things ever. Brilliant. Great execution by the Broncos. I'll say this, too, a positive. They overcame the bad penalties last night. They continued those drives after the Ingram phantom PI. That was terrible, that OPI. And the false start, it did not kill the drives. That was really good on them to overcome kind of those longer distances.
Yeah, I mean, they overcame a few things last night, but again, given the circumstances of the game and who was playing, I think that was an expectation. That you can't let one or two calls get to you in that scenario if you are truly the team that everybody believes you have been and proven to be over an 11-game winning streak.
And with that, talk about play calling and execution. Sean Payton, after the game, talked about adapting his play calling throughout the game.
I go right away to what I think are the real good. You could say, hey, it's cover 2, but like, what are the runs we really like into that shell, and then what are the passes we like? How quickly is it? Is it quarters or is it halves? There's versions of that, and then, I got the green highlighter out that is trumping maybe what was highlighted prior. Even grab the second call sheet that back it up and then begin. And differently than what you thought going in.
There was a few things we didn't love last night, but Chad, overall, I thought Sean Payton called a really good game last night for this offense.
Yeah, I think, he went in with the understanding that they don't need to be overly dynamic. They don't need to do a whole lot of anything special, given what the Chiefs were going to trot out there offensively, that they could essentially just keep the game in front of them and don't let it get out of control. As long as you don't make mistakes, you're going to come out on top in this one, and I think he did that. Look, you had the ball for 40 minutes on the road. Like, end of story. Don't complain. Would I have liked there to be more than 20 points when that happens? Yes, I would. But a division opponent on the road on a short week, and you had the ball for 40 minutes. Mission accomplished.
And I've always said this too, and it's something we bring up all the time. When you watch your team not get a stop, that is so frustrating to watch. When the other team just stays on the field. And if it's frustrating to watch, it must feel terrible to be a defense that you're not giving up 35-yard passes. They're just 6-7 yarding you down the field, chewing the clock, dictating the pace of the game to you. And with Sean Payton down the stretch, again, he said, they're run tolerant after the game. That was the word he used. But I have seen him, as the season's gone on, adapt a little bit better, kind of get into the Parcells, Belichickian, let's go ahead and do what we got to do to win this game. That's where I thought he was really brilliant. If I could pin the win on one person last night, it would be Sean Payton.
Yeah, it's very similar to like what we were talking about, the Wolves trying to defend Jokic or the Thunder trying to defend the Spurs yesterday. It was just 2, 2, 2,
yep.
2, and 1, 2, 2, mid-range, at the hoop, like over and over and over again. They just keep chipping away. It's not dynamic. It's not all the corner threes and transition threes and dunking on you or whatever the case may be, but it's relentless. And look, man, if you go on the road in your division and have the ball for 40 minutes, you can't have a whole lot to complain about.
No, you can't. And it's the second time they've done it. I don't know if they had 40 minutes time of possession against the Raiders.
It felt like 58.
It felt like 58. And I think what's important for this going forward, it's John Davis, Chad Anders sitting in for the guys today, is the Broncos are strongest in the trenches. One thing you've said is they're going to win the snaps more times than they don't, whether it's offense or defense. When you're built from the inside out, when your strength is in the trenches, which makes it funny that Sean built it like that and then sometimes didn't call it like that. But when it's like that, you dictate the pace of the game. And that's where the Jaguars game got away from them. One of the things I liked about last night, if they got back to saying, no, whether you win or lose, you're going to do it on our terms and the way we want this game to go.
Yeah, and that's really what I think the story of the season has been. And that's why this team, over the course of 4 quarters, has proven over and over and over it can win at the end and come out on top, because it doesn't necessarily matter what the score is along the way, but the aggregate result, the cumulative effect of the way they play is going to give them the advantage late in the game to finish off the contest. It played out that way again last night. It's not very different than what we've seen for most of the season.
And I don't know where it would land, and with the Jags game that might have got a little off. The 3-and-outs seem to have slowed down greatly with this team since the bye. As much as we get on the defense since the bye, going back to that Chiefs game, they had a few early on in that game. They've really stopped 3-and-outing. The field position, which was a problem last year, especially in those games where they couldn't get off the field, and in moments this year, like the Raiders Thursday night game, they've stopped losing that field position battle as much, because even when they're punting, they're at least getting 1 first down on those drives. So that's play calling and execution has gotten a lot better.
Well, it's part of it is being run tolerant.
Being run tolerant.
And
we should make a shirt, run tolerant, Sean Payton.
But it is the extended use, the greater use of the jumbo package, the 2 tight ends and the fullback. They've made that adjustment. They play more downs that way, and they play with more ball control and sustained possessions longer when they do that.
And it works better, and they're doing it without J.K. Dobbins. And kind of just one last thing, too, that I thought was really good last night. Look, the Chiefs, they didn't have McDuffie, but they had a front seven. Those guys were still – they had some dudes that were still out there. Alex Forsythe's name didn't particularly pop up much last night, and I thought that was good.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that the Chiefs didn't put Chris Jones over him in the middle a few more times, especially on the key downs. I think they did it the one time on the quarterback sneak where Bo picked up the first down late, where I was watching that very closely to see what would happen there. Forsythe, a lot, I don't think they really targeted him to pick on him. A lot of his action was in double teams. There wasn't a whole lot of one-on-one that he had to handle last night. You know, he was fine. And the biggest concern, I think, when you're playing with a backup center or a new center is make sure all the snaps are clean, and all the snaps were clean. So there was no forcing the Broncos into a negative play because they dropped the ball or it was a bad snap or anything like that. So we'll see going forward. Pretty good run blocker. The pass blocking is what he's going to have to prove into probably the divisional round of the playoffs, and then we'll see, if Luke Wattenberg can come back from there and what they do from that point.
Yeah, and there was one play, as Andrew Mason said yesterday, Wattenberg's the better pass pro guy, not as good in the run. Forsythe is the better run blocking guy, not as good in the pass. They had a play last night where they ran Jaleel, I think, right behind Forsythe, and I think he got the first down. So there was a lot of, for me, I'm pleased with the offense last night. As clunky as they started and as sloppy as they looked, overall, I walk away from that with the way it progressed throughout the game. Really happy with what they did last night.
Again, style points or style and points. I like the style. I want to see more points.
There you go.
I want to see more than 20.
You want to see run tolerant, like the style, more points. Keys to this. That's our keys to the Super Bowl right there.
Play the same style and hold the ball for 40 minutes. Just score more than 20.
Don't drop it in the red zone. Chad, this week something very cool came out, a documentary on Netflix about John Elway. We've both now watched it. What do we think of that? And we continue to react to the Broncos' victory over the Chiefs and the Nuggets over the Timberwolves. We do all of that next.
Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Denver Sports 1043 to stay up to date on all your local teams. Denver Sports 1043. The Fan.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Xfinity. What if more reliable didn't mean more expensive? With Xfinity, you can get reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi for less. We're talking intelligent gig-speed Wi-Fi for $50 a month. This holiday season through January 4th, Xfinity is offering their best price on gig-speed Wi-Fi, guaranteed for 5 years. No contracts, no strings attached. You could save $3,000 over Verizon and AT&T. Imagine getting super fast Wi-Fi at the same price for 5 years. Get everything you need from Xfinity, their best Wi-Fi equipment, and even unlimited data, all included at their best price. Get ready to be wowed by your Wi-Fi. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto-paid with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary. Savings based on promo and post-promo prices for 1 gig internet, 1 unlimited line, and Peacock Premium versus Verizon 1 gig internet and AT&T 1000 internet and 1 unlimited starter SL line.
This holiday season, AutoNation is unwrapping the biggest gift of all. The car you actually want with zero down and no payments for 90 days. With our coast-to-coast inventory of nearly 100,000 new and used cars, trucks, and crossovers, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. Zero down, no payments until April. That's the deal you deserve on the car you love. Hurry to your nearest AutoNation store or AutoNation.com. Limited term financing on approved credit. Interest accrues from date of purchase on deferred payments. See store for details.
Cake Mortgage Corp. Equal Housing Lender. NMLS number 1734623. Licensed in Colorado by the Division of Real Estate. Terms and conditions apply. What if you could use the equity in your home to get cash fast? With no appraisal, zero hassle, and less waiting with Cake? You can. The Cake Fast Cash program is like turning your home into your ATM. People are using it to pay off high-interest debt, do renovations, tackle student loans, or cut monthly bills by hundreds, even thousands of dollars. The best part? Your current mortgage rate won't change. With Cake, you also get peace of mind. We're AAA rated by the Better Business Bureau and backed by thousands of 5-star reviews. Cake Mortgage. Your fresh-baked cake fast cash loan is ready to enjoy. So don't wait. Call 720-850-0012. That's 720-850-0012. Or visit cakehome.com for thousands of 5-star reviews.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. That's RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you.
I know some people think after a car accident, do I really need a lawyer? Hiring Postman Law isn't only about the courtroom. We're your single point of contact in a complicated claims process. We take on the insurance adjusters, organize your medical bills, coordinate with doctors, and make sure nothing gets missed. Get the outcome you deserve without the headache. Call 844-POSTMAN. When other firms promise, Postman delivers.
Call 844-POSTMAN. Attorney Advertising.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Hurry! It's our last chance to donate for 2025.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Hurry! It's our last chance to donate for 2025.
Stay up to date on the Broncos with our 9 News Broncos insider Mike Kliss. Presented by Fitness Gallery. Hear the latest from every practice and every game every single week during football season. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
John Davis, Chad Andrus, Alex behind the glass, sitting in for the guys today. Text in 303-713-1043. A lot coming in. Sorry if we don't get to everybody. Get to as many as we can. A lot of good stuff coming in. Somebody just, earlier we were negative. Now somebody wants to know that I liked the offense last night. I didn't love the offense last night, but the manner in which they won, the manner in which they settled down and controlled that game by bleeding clock and running the ball more, I think that's a much more realistic expectation for a path to the Super Bowl than coming out and slinging it a bunch of times all game.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And, obviously the way they play is something I've been calling for a long time. I keep saying since Vance Joseph was the head coach, with the jumbo packages, with the fullback, with the 2 tight ends. I do want to call out this from the 2044, which is a great point. And you mentioned it on the Fan Football pregame show yesterday that Alex Forsythe was the guy that just got steamrolled when Chenal blocked the field goal and they lost in Kansas City last year. He responds last night starting at center and got a game ball. So tip of the cap to Alex Forsythe for that, for a big comeback for him, a hurdle overcome after an embarrassing moment.
And that again is a tip of the cap to Sean Payton. These guys always feel like if they do what they're asked, they're going to get another opportunity and they're going to be put in a position to win. So Alex Forsythe, anytime a guy gets redemption, from something that was from something like that was on display, probably the worst moment of his playing career, to come back last night and be really solid. Good for Alex Forsythe. We've gotten so many texts. I can't find this. This came in about an hour ago talking about style points. The Broncos won without style points with Dan Reeves, and then they got to the Super Bowl and they got worked in those first 3. So whatever texter sent that in. kind of leads us into the John Elway documentary, Elway on Netflix. I don't think you can do spoilers on a documentary, especially when everything that happened is out there. But just Elway on Netflix, any Broncos fan, I think, should definitely watch it, especially if you didn't see John Elway play. But overall impressions of the Elway documentary.
Unbelievable trip down memory lane for huge Bronco fans. They're really going to enjoy it because it's the video. It's taking you back. There's a lot of great moments on there, and I got a kick out of my wife got a kick out of seeing some of the clips with Ron Zapolo or Les Shapiro, rest in peace.
So
in there.
long ago,
yeah, those guys. That stuff was always fun for the people who are really here locally and have always been here. I think there's two ways of looking at this. There's, the people of a certain age that experienced it and saw the whole thing. It's just going to be kind of a fun reflection for a lot of things and you experience. You're just going to get to relive it and see the video again. But I do believe there's a younger generation, guys like Alex. Alex, how old are you?
I am 31 now.
Okay.
I know I look a little younger. But honestly, one of my first memories was Super Bowl 33. Not just
don't you have a
memories,
Super
but
Bowl
memories
32 sweatshirt on?
I do, but this is it's vintage.
That's vintage. That's
thrift store. I was going to say that was before you were born, right? For any generation like that, or our buddy Alex Mateo, who does the fan football pregame producing, people that weren't alive for it, I think it's a great reflection on just the prospect that Elway was and the expectations and the weight of him coming into the league, because to this day, I believe he's the highest graded draft prospect at quarterback that there's ever been.
Still is.
So when you think about the quarterback position, John Elway was LeBron James. Like it was that level of talent you were talking about coming in. And for him to force a trade that the Broncos benefited from and come here, I think that's a lot of stuff that the younger generation maybe is aware happened, but didn't really know what it looked like, what it sounded like, what it felt like, and it's good for them to experience it. And then for the folks like us that were around, that lived it, that saw it all, it's a really good, nice trip down memory lane.
Yeah, it was. And what I wanted from it was I wanted people to be reminded or educated on just how good of a quarterback John Elway was in the NFL and the things he was able to do, the things he was able to accomplish, turning around the fortunes of a franchise that really had only had one good season prior to that, which was the Orange Crush, and kind of where Denver was as a city prior to John Elway, and kind of the role he's played in kind of the reputation and notoriety, people knowing about Denver. Look, there's people out there that'll look at you with a straight face and tell you Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees were better quarterbacks than John Elway. And you could take your MVPs and your yards all you want. Those guys are not better than John Elway. And I don't think people realize that, because these days we're so stat-driven. People will look up a list and see where he ranks on there. John Elway could move around the pocket. You think Mahomes was good at it? You think Josh Allen was good at it? As good as those guys are, they couldn't manipulate the pocket with their eyes downfield and throw the ball that John Elway could. He's one of one when it comes to that. And there's guys, Allen and Mahomes are really good at it. But when people come out today and they go, we've never seen this before, talking about those guys, it's like we saw it 30, 40 years ago, and it was John Elway.
Yeah, athletically, he really has no equal at the quarterback position for what he could do with his physical gifts and his talents. And I do think that is lost a little bit through numbers, through translation, and the way people that didn't watch him play interpret the game. The story for me, I think the most interesting part of it, and when you weren't necessarily in Denver, like I was alive, I experienced, I was in sports media, I'm well aware of it, but when you weren't in Denver, I think there wasn't near as much focus on when he finally won and got over the hump. The fact that he did it against Dan Reeves and took the Super Bowl MVP trophy from Terry Bradshaw. Like, those are things that people outside of Denver don't have an appreciation for.
In his last game.
Yeah.
In his last game.
Right. So, he's able to win back-to-back, right? So, number one, he gets it done. He comes back, is able to do it again, but then rides off, beating Dan Reeves, who he clashed with forever and couldn't get over the hump with. And then Terry Bradshaw had some comments that I had never seen before.
You didn't know this?
I think I knew about criticism, but I had never seen the actual clip of active player Terry Bradshaw speaking like that in 1983. I'd never seen that video before.
Okay, yeah, I had seen that one. They had another one of him as an analyst being a real jerk about it that I had never seen that one. And John, if you go to Netflix Sports social media, they ask him to compare quarterbacks. And they, Montana, and he keeps picking Montana because he's won more Super Bowls over Manning and Mahomes. Well, they get Bradshaw, who's got as many wins, and he goes, that's easy, that's Montana. Terry Bradshaw's pretty far down my list. It's to this day, because Bradshaw was a real jerk about it. Bradshaw was probably mad he didn't get all the praise when he was carried to all these Super Bowls by one of the greatest rosters of all time. But John, no, the Dan Reeves, the Terry Bradshaw, the way they're able to put that together. One interesting aspect of the documentary that I think is also important that I don't know if we've been replicated in sports. You can let me know if I'm wrong on this, if you can think of anybody. They started with the Cal Stanford game. The band is on the field, and that's known for the band being on the field, which is crazy. But you forget a whole team lost a game in heartbreaking fashion off hook and ladder kick return, and that was John Elway that lost that game. So they kind of set in motion these big games losing. Then he loses the 3 Super Bowls, which I can't think of anybody, top guys that lost their first 3 shots at a championship and then won. Jim Kelly lost 4, but just the ability to stay on course, and ultimately he finished his career with 2 championships.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, the legend of the comeback king and the guy, that could always get it done in the clutch, he was trailing and he gave his team the lead with 4 seconds left in the game. Yeah, in the Cal Stanford, the band is on the field game.
Exactly.
So wasn't his fault.
Right. He didn't, and they got in there, showing what he had to do to get there and kind of how quickly he turned things around. And I think one thing that I think is interesting, you see these things these days, just generally, they'll be like, look at Gen Z or millennials react to this, this, and this. And they act like things used to be different back then than they are now. One thing you saw in the documentary, teams were impatient with their rookie quarterbacks. Teams back then were putting a lot on the rookie quarterbacks to the point where they threw John in there and they benched him. And he more than once. So to pretend like it's different now and we put too much, no, they did that back then as well. And you kind of see something in there, and you saw it with Bryce Young recently, to where sometimes pulling him out and putting him back in can benefit. Now, it is John Elway, greatest prospect of all time, but I thought that was funny that we act like, oh, Josh Allen would have never survived in Denver with all the pressure, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, he would have been just fine. Good players find a way through.
Well, just imagine for the younger generation that even if they didn't see these guys play, if you're in your 20s, you still are probably familiar enough with Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck. Imagine those guys getting benched, starting, being named the starting quarterback as a generational prospect, number 1 overall pick, and then going out there and after 1/2 of play in your first game, getting pulled and getting benched.
And then getting benched again for 4 games later in the year. Yeah, what if, God, who went through that? Joe Burrow. Like, Burrow played pretty good from the beginning, but I'm just saying, could you imagine the narrative around they benched Joe Burrow in his first game, and then they benched him after game 4, whatever. It would have been everyone like, you're nuts. You can't do that.
Even guys that aren't generational prospects. Okay, let's pretend for a moment who's
Bo
going
Nix.
Or Fernando Mendoza wins the Heisman Trophy and comes in. Let's say he's the number 1 pick at quarterback. Can you imagine him starting week 1 NFL season, and in the first half he goes 1 for 8, and then he's benched in the second half?
1 for 8, and they benched him. It would be, everybody would melt down. Everybody would lose it. You can't do that. And it's like,
no one would criticize the player. Everyone would be all over the coach.
Yes. It was, you can't do this. You got to get him. So back then, Dan Reeves is a hell of a coach. One thing I wish they would have got in the documentary is in John's Hall of Fame speech, he very glowingly talked about Dan Reeves. And I think they would have gotten there that John and Dan were very good by the end. When Gary Kubiak took over, Dan Reeves came out to training camp when Gary Kubiak was head coach. And while John was in charge, they put Dan Reeves into the Ring of Fame here in Denver. So I wish they would have kind of showed that animosity was gone quite a while ago between those two guys.
And it's not like Dan Reeves couldn't coach football and didn't know what he was doing. They just had different ways that they wanted to go about it. And Dan Reeves wanted to coach the way he wanted to coach, and Elway wanted to play the way he knew how to play, and those two things did not match.
Right.
Both proved to be successful, but they couldn't work together because they were opposite of one another. So it's not that either guy was wrong, it's just they weren't a match to work together.
Right, and it's proven they were both good because they both had success outside of each other. I mean, it's wild that Dan Reeves coached 4 Super Bowls, 4 teams to Super Bowls, and lost them all. And John Elway, John Elway was part of all of them, though. It's a really weird thing. By the way, I think it's important. Dan Reeves should be in the Hall of Fame. That's something there. One thing I also think was interesting, they act like Wade Phillips was never the head coach of the Denver Broncos.
They kind of skipped that part.
They were like, I wanted Mike Shanahan, and Mike's suddenly here. It's like, no, there was 2 years there. They got Anthony Miller. They thought they had John on this right trajectory. I thought that was funny. One thing I also think was interesting, and then we got some audio. They had this cut, I think, after they beat Cleveland again to go to Washington. They left the fumble out of the game, too, but they're like, okay, you're going to the Super Bowl. It's just this quick clip, and it's O.J. Simpson telling
Yes,
John Elway.
yes. Yeah, I pointed that out. Yeah. My wife was standing there in the room, and I was like, that's O.J.
It's like, do we have to have the O.J. Simpson part in there?
But I think it's important to just provide some context. When we get more and more and more of these reflections, these documentaries, these looks back, for generations that are younger and didn't live through it, like, they may have heard about the drive. They may have seen the highlight videos of the Mark Jackson touchdown and the legend of the drive, but it doesn't occur and process to them that didn't win the game. It tied the game.
Right.
Right. And it provides more context for people that didn't live through it.
I think that's a great point. And one thing, I was on with Mike and Mark about a year ago, and we talked about it, these players. Patrick Mahomes has it. Brady has it. Payton had it. You look at the Lamar Jackson, maybe Joe Burrow got it. The moment, the signature moment of your career. Dan Marino doesn't have a signature moment of his. He's got a fake spike in New York in like week 10, to win a game. John's got the drive and the helicopter. I mean, how many guys can you think of in NFL history have and then he's got 2 of them. One's to tie the game to get to the Super Bowl. The other is this moment. He's at the end of his career. The Mike calls the wrong play that John told him not to do, so John makes it happen himself. He dove headfirst in the air and got spun around. And what my dad pointed out at the time, and if you watch it, when he hits the ground, he's looking for the first down marker. He's just he doesn't care that he just did this insane thing. He's looking for the first down marker. Signature moments is what elevate guys. John's got 2, one on his way to Super Bowl win, one on his way to his first Super Bowl. He started 5. The moments, you can give me all the Josh Allen stats you want, and maybe he was robbed of one against Kansas City. That was a divisional round. You got to have those moments if you want to really get into that upper echelon.
Well, and so far, Josh Allen's moment is a regular season run against the Chiefs last year.
Right.
It's not a playoff moment, and that's the difference in separating him and, like, say, Eli Manning. Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowl moments with the David Tyree catch and then the other
the
sideline throw, dropping it into the bucket, right? He has 2 moments on the biggest stage, which is going to get him a Hall of Fame, right? And that's the part that Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson are still, waiting to do on the largest of stages.
Yeah, and they haven't. And people, they got to go against Mahomes. Well, Mahomes gives you moments. Montana gave you moments. And real quick, we got it. So Terry Bradshaw, for those that don't know, Terry Bradshaw, once upon a time, was this quarterback. He won 4 Super Bowls for the Steelers. Just totally stacked with talent on those teams. When John Elway came out and demanded a trade, Terry Bradshaw was very critical of him. He was critical of him throughout his career. Here we are about 40 years later. John Elway, for this Netflix special, was asked to compare quarterbacks, and here's John talking.
Joe Montana or Terry Bradshaw?
No doubt. Joe Montana. Terry Bradshaw's way down on my list.
No doubt, Terry Bradshaw's Joe Montana. Terry Bradshaw's way down on my list.
And it's not because John Elway was a California kid and picking Joe Montana. That's not the reason.
Yeah, got nothing to do with it. I think he picks against Joe because Joe had, you want to talk about signature moments? Joe's career-defining signature moment after all the Super Bowls was that Monday night duel with John Elway, Kansas City, Denver. John puts him up by 4 late in the game on a quarterback sneak. And then Joe takes him down the field in about 1:50 and wins. To this day, my least favorite football game I've ever seen in my entire life.
It wasn't the Elway versus Montana flag football game that they played at Mile High.
Didn't Joe win that too?
He did. We broadcast that game. We broadcast a flag football game on this station, and I was on the sidelines, so it was incredible because I was interviewing Joe Montana and Roger Craig and all these people during the game. We put a flag football game between Joe Montana and John Elway on these airwaves.
And who did you interview?
Montana, Roger Craig, Jerry Rice.
So you interviewed guys legitimately part of arguably the greatest dynasty, the 80s 49ers, at a flag football game in Denver just so they could beat up on John Elway one more time.
We broadcast the game on our air.
That's awesome. That's awesome. The relationship between John Elway and Joe Montana, I think, is pretty cool. I think and Dan Marino was there too. That was a really good era between those guys. Montana, you want to talk about a guy with moments? How many passing yards did he have? Where does he rank? Who cares? He hit John Taylor against Cincinnati.
Yeah, and everybody is aware of the Super Bowl moment and the story of him walking into the huddle when they needed that drive and going, "Hey, did you guys see John Candy sitting up there? John Candy's in the stands."
Yeah,
right? Like, dude, we're losing in the Super Bowl. Well, what are you talking about right now? Don't worry about it. I got this.
And that's similar to Keith Bishop looking at John Elway before the drive, saying, "We got him right where we want him." And so this Elway documentary, I think everybody should check it out. It's focused on John Elway, the player, which is what I wanted. I think the GM, that's fine. And people knew recently, they kind of left that out. The people speaking in the documentary, it was all from his playing days. There was no Peyton Manning. There was no Von Miller. There was no Joe Ellis. So none of that. They really tried to keep it all centered on John Elway, the player, which I thought was super important because, as a couple texters have pointed out, you could, if you get deep into how you want to do it, you could argue he is the best quarterback of all time. It's hard with what Brady's done, but there's an argument there, and you're not stupid presenting that argument.
And this is where we get into conversations. I've had some of these talks with Dan Jacobs. It's never ending in the battle we fight in Denver campaigning for Nikola Jokic. Mm-hmm. And I do think there is a delineation, there's an important distinction between how you define the best, who was the most talented, and maybe who is the most skilled. And I can confidently sit here today, decades after he's done playing and say John Elway is still the most talented quarterback.
Yeah. Somebody wrote Joe owned John. Oh, you beat him 55-10 in a Super Bowl. What are you going to say? But no, John is the most talented.
Okay. So your team gives up 55 points, so your quarterback gets owned?
Right. It's
like that's the one thing that I think jumps out at me as well, right? They really focus and highlight the offensive differences and the philosophy differences with the way John wanted to play and how Dan Reeves wanted to play and the Super Bowl failures over and over and over and over again. The Giants scored, 39 points?
Yeah.
The Redskins scored how many points? The 49ers scored 55 points? Was it offense? Was it the reason he lost Super Bowls?
The turnovers didn't help, but no, it wasn't. I mean, Treadwell missed a field goal at the end of the first half in the Giants game. I think the Broncos were winning at that point. They're up 10-0, and then that second quarter against Washington is the worst 15 minutes in the history of this organization. If John is in San Francisco with Bill Walsh,
it's Tom Brady.
It's
Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
Exactly. And I think everybody can comfortably kind of come to that conclusion as well. Joe ran with it. Something else I'll say about John Elway, and I think this applies to Peyton Manning as well. Tom Brady, 6th round pick. Joe Montana, 3rd round pick. When you go in the 2nd or 3rd round, do you know what that means? You likely didn't go to the worst team or one of the worst teams in the NFL. No, not likely. Brady, one of the things about Brady in the 6th round pick that kind of gets lost is it was a pretty good Patriots roster that he went to. That Colts team Peyton Manning went to was so bad. So bad. John didn't come to a Broncos team. They had recently drafted Dennis Smith. Sammy.
He didn't get benched after the first half of his first game. His rookie year was pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He threw interceptions. One of the best thing that happened for Payton was Randy Moss had that rookie year, and it allowed Payton to quietly. He threw all those picks, but he also, nobody ever brings this up, he set the record for rookie touchdown passes as well. Payton, but he was throwing those picks. But I think they gave him everything too with Payton. I don't think they tried to restrain him at all. But John, overall, if you're a Broncos fan, like Chad said, that grew up like we did, getting to see it, I was here. It was everything to me, John Elway. And I was getting in arguments. The reason I can do this now is I spent my entire elementary school arguing John Elway's better than Troy Aikman, Steve Young, and Joe Montana. And then when I'm in 8th grade and they win the Super Bowl, suddenly I'm the most popular guy around because I had been yelling it all those years. But if you were around for that, and if you didn't see it, go get reminded of why this guy is so revered in this city.
And we should remind everybody, you are named after him.
I am named after
John Elway. Is your middle name Elway?
No, I wish. They should have done that. That John Elway, that would have been the coolest thing. But my name's John Davis, John Elway.
Is your middle name Terrell?
Terrell Davis. That's where they messed up. That's what it should have been. And also...
Is your middle name Shannon?
Shannon would have been. My middle name's Michael, so who's Michael Brooks? They let him go in free agency. He was a Pro Bowler. He followed Dan Reeves. The whole team followed Dan Reeves to New York. And watching that Super Bowl too, Shane Dronette, former first-round pick of the Broncos, was on that Falcons team. Reeves had guys go with him every stop in the NFL. Guys really, really enjoyed playing for Dan Reeves. Dan Reeves should be in the Hall of Fame. And real quick, as we say, when Chad and I were on the air Wednesday morning, my dad went into the Breakfast Queen, and who's sitting there, and who did my dad meet? But the guy we're talking about, John Elway, on Christmas Eve. Said he was super nice to him. But when I was young, do you remember starting lineups, the sports action figures?
Yeah.
I got, for Christmas, Vance Johnson, Sammy Winder, John Elway, Carl Mecklenburg, Rulon Jones, and Terry Bradshaw.
There was a Rulon Jones starting lineup?
And I was like, who's this? And they go, you put him here, and Rulon and Carl Mecklenburg, you have him hit him. They go, he's the bad guy. And I was like, okay, fantastic. But last night, Chad, the Denver Broncos won the game in a way that we feel can help them make a deep playoff run. And there was evidence of just how effective it can be to help them win late in that game. What is it? Chad and I get into that next.
Follow us on X at DEN Sports 1043 for up-to-the-minute information and opinions on all things Denver sports. Also, we can still call it Twitter, right? Denver Sports 1043 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app.
Hey, your boy Stink here for my buddy Troy Hansford. If you're thinking about selling your house in this market, man, it has gone crazy. Went from one of the hottest it's ever been to prices declining, cooling down, and that's something people haven't seen here in a long time. But if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now's the time to sell it. Still get top dollar from my buddy Troy. Believe it or not, he's still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, you can't sell your house at your price on your timeline. He's going to cut you a check that you guys agree upon for $5,000. Come on, nobody else makes that offer, and he makes that offer because he continues to spend a bunch of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families that are approved and ready to buy. If you have a house to sell, Troy probably has a perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up that phone and to dial him up at 720-900-4433. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy will buy your house all cash and he can close in as little as 7 days. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. Want to sell your house? Well, then pick up the phone and call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
You know the rush when you reach that goal? When something you've worked for pays off? That's success. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we believe you should never stop chasing it. That's why we offer a skills-based education that helps move your career forward. Learn how to apply emerging technologies like AI and data science. Build your leadership and critical thinking skills. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start January 7th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Rain-X wipers are the #1 wiper blades in America. That means all kinds of drivers choose Rain-X. Big drivers in small cars choose Rain-X. Small drivers in big cars choose Rain-X. Drivers with long hair and short commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with short hair and long commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with pets on board, babies on board, and bored babies on board choose Rain-X. Basically, drivers who love a clear view of the road all choose Rain-X wipers.
the #1 wiper blades in America.
Hey Broncos country, it's Terrell Davis here. You know, in the game of life, our most valuable asset is our health. With the right equipment, you can train like a pro. That's why I made the smart move to invest in fitness equipment with Fitness Gallery. It's a game changer. I have a true treadmill at home. It's the smoothest and quietest I've ever been on.
For the fitness fanatic on your Christmas list, save big this holiday season. At Fitness Gallery, we have deals everywhere, up to 50% off. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. We have you covered.
Hey, it's Mike Evans. How about a New Year's resolution where the commitment takes just one day and yet the results last a lifetime? Address years of hair loss like I did with Dr. Tanya Paul's and Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment using your own natural hair. Advanced Hair restores your bald spot, receding hairline, or thinning, and they guarantee your new hair will.
Which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, a Promenic restorative health practice.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
Real quick, somebody wrote in and said, we were talking about the John Elway documentary there, so you ignore the story of Elway crying out of Indy? It wasn't Indy, it was Baltimore. Anyways.
Man, some of the people telling us we don't know Broncos history and then the follow-up comments that they include, maybe look in the mirror a little bit.
Yeah, that's
Imagine telling John Davis he doesn't know Broncos history.
It's the only thing I know. In elementary school, they're like, he's terrible at math, but man, the guy won't shut up about this new tight end, Shannon Sharp, who was actually a receiver.
In this case, you are free and clear. You get a free pass to drop it. Do you know who I am?
Yeah. Do you know who you're talking to right now? If there's one thing, if it's not rap music or Broncos, I'm useless. But if it's one of those things, I'm pretty comfortable. And they explain in the documentary why he wanted out of Baltimore, not Indy, and I think he was proven right. They show clips of the older Irsay saying he's not moving the team, and then in the middle of the night he moved him. But last night, Chad, Denver Broncos, you own a shirt that says run the ball. That's how much you want the Denver Broncos to run the ball. And since you and I started pre-games back in 2023 together, Sean Payton's first year, you've been right on about it. Sean Payton doesn't want to run the ball. And if anybody that's disagreed with you, Sean Payton basically confirmed how you feel about his approach to the running game last night when he spoke about his play calling.
I just think you become more run tolerant regardless of down and distance. And then what is it we like in the passing game with the too high shell? It doesn't mean you can't throw. You just have to understand what you're seeing.
Chad, in all the years you've been covering, you covered the Emmitt Smith Dallas Cowboys. You've been in Denver, covered a lot of teams. How often is the term run tolerant popped up?
I've never heard a coach say they're tolerant of an aspect of a game in any sport. It's saying the quiet part out loud. Whether you're a coach, an athlete, a celebrity, a politician, that is openly saying the quiet part out loud. I don't like playing this way. This is not what I want to do. This ain't fun, but I will tolerate it because we can win the game playing that way. And it just confirms all the suspicions. And when we're coming off an extended segment, when we talked about the philosophical differences between Dan Reeves and John Elway for a day after Sean Payton come out after winning a game saying, well, you become more run tolerant with the looks you're getting. He just doesn't like doing it.
He doesn't like doing it. Is he starting to come around to the fact that if he wants to be the first coach to win a Super Bowl with 2 franchises, that this might be the best path for him? Do you think he's coming around to that?
I thought he was post the Thursday Night Raider game. I thought he was when he, again, openly admitted that game had a bad game plan for a short week. And since that point, it wasn't just what Mike Kliss told us, that the playbook, the play sheet was shortened and the play calls weren't as complex. It wasn't just that. It was that there were more jumbo packages. There were more playing with a fullback and two-back sets, and there were more two tight end sets. That is fact. They have played that way more often since the 10-7 Thursday night game to the Raiders, and the offense has looked better and the quarterback has looked better since that point. That is factual information backed up by statistics and points scored on the scoreboard. Their offense functions better with the personnel they have playing that way. It is just not the preference of the head coach.
And that's wild to me because that's how you built the team. Sean has such a big say in how this roster's built. And the concerted effort when he came in here, they didn't do a lot, after the Russell Wilson thing, but Malcolm Roach is who they signed. They make sure they get Quinn Miners and they go sign. Then when they go sign McGlinchey and Ben Powers. So building inside out has been the focus, but then offensively they don't really want to do it. But something happened late in that game, Chad, that never happens. And the Broncos were able to pull it off. They were able to get the Chiefs offsides. Here's Sean Payton talking about that after the game.
It's a no-brainer freeze, but it was at a different formation, one we'd never shown. We were going to take the delay game, so we didn't have a play. I don't know why we called it Harrisburg, because it looked like a play we have called Pittsburgh, and no one moves in Harrisburg. I think that's why we just came up with that. And it's a unique one because it involves you're on the road, so it involves a heel. And then Meinertz is barking the cadence out. So he gets hat off to him. He gets Air Jordans for the offensive line. The last time we were able to do that, it was Nate. And so he got 5 pair. Obviously, that changed the complexity of the clock. That was a big play. We go through the process, head up, head down, and then Meinertz is, he just says, head up. And it's timed up with, the heel comes. They're all looking at the center, and it did it.
The larger point I'm making here with that, and Sean explained, it was brilliant what they did to get the Chiefs offsides late in that game because, again, that never works. When you go out there and just try to draw them offsides and you take the delay a game or call the timeout, they've got to believe you're going to run the ball for that to work. And they had successfully ran the ball. So it's not just run the ball, be more run tolerant, to use Sean Payton's term. It's running the ball because it sets up things later on in the game. Sean loves to set things up with the passing game. But when you run the ball and you stick to it, whether you're overly successful or not, it puts you in a position late in the game to get the other team to overreact and make that mistake.
Yeah, that clip, I think, is a good insight and explanation, and it helps everyone see and understand the larger picture. And I think it's very valuable because it provides all the insight in the background and the detail as to how they practice it and how they set it up. Yeah. And I think that's very important. It's not by mistake that happened. And Chris Jones is a guy who's had battles with the line of scrimmage in his career, and it was another big one last night. Obviously, the Chiefs didn't have anything at stake in that regard, but the Broncos certainly did, and the Chiefs don't like seeing the Broncos benefit in any way, shape, or form. Right. But it is the detail and the execution that I think we're looking for explained in that play that we were frustrated with when Bo throws on the run and doesn't set his feet and throws off of his back foot, or Cortland drops a pass, or last week against Jacksonville, Garrett Bowles has false starts, right? When Sean Payton explains that play and the detail and the background and the preparation and the reasoning and the execution behind it, we are left questioning, well, where is that on everything else that we're questioning, right? And that's why it's valuable. That's why it's important, because we see that exists, but it bubbles up in our frustrations in other areas when it doesn't.
Yeah, and it kind of turns back to just overall with Sean. I don't think either of us would even remotely come close to making an argument that he's not one of the top coaches in the NFL. Like, we've been critical of Sean Payton, the play caller, more than Sean Payton, the head coach, because there's two different things going on there. But again, a lot of this criticism comes down to there's a lot of expectation that comes with him. A lot of that he vocally puts on himself. But then we do see things like this. And and I've liked so much of what Sean Payton's done, especially in recent weeks, but this is why he is who he is. This is why he's become, other than Bill Belichick, the first head coach to win 13 games 5 different times. I mean, the Broncos have one of the absolute best. I think he's the only guy that could have turned him around. We just like to see him sometimes recognize how smart he is and not get too flashy with it, because he's capable of things like this that can really help the Broncos win.
Well, and it's also the small details and the little things that just aren't overlooked. And I think sometimes we've fallen in the trap and said things like, Sean Payton has forgotten more about football than any of us will ever know. And that's 100% true, but that can also be a problem. Like, don't forget the basic stuff because you're playing such an advanced level of the game that you ignore it and overlook it and it falls through the cracks, or you have a bunch of penalties, or you don't button up the details on things, right? And I think that's all we're asking for, because we know how important those things are in every single critical play that could turn a playoff game.
And throwing that wrinkle in late in that game too, the Wildcat, they don't line up in that all the time. Now, I'm not trying to draw a comparison here to the 97 Broncos, but we talked about the Elway documentary, one of the best things that we've ever seen with the Broncos. And it's not just the Wildcat, it's something that Sean Payton has over a lot of other coaches, a lot of other play callers. The Broncos are in the AFC Championship, 97 AFC Championship game. The game happens in 98. It's 3rd and 6. You got the best player in the world, Terrell Davis, back there. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, for all intents and purposes, have got to a point where they're not sure if they can stop Terrell Davis. You got the Hall of Fame quarterback, the Hall of Fame tight end. 3rd and 6, Elway to Sharp. It's a play that wasn't even in the game plan. It's a play they hadn't run.
There are things now that they ran that Wildcat formation in order to draw the offsides penalty, but I promise you he's got 4 or 5 different things out of that are still in the bag, potentially for the Chargers or the playoffs. That could be the direct snap to Harvey. That could be Nick's in motion. That could change the look of the play. And defenses are going to have to figure out where it's going to go. And that is the enigma that he is as a play caller in designing these plays, is there are so many different multiple options, and it's why he drives people nuts, because he's got a lot of stuff left where defenses going into the postseason, going into this game against the Chargers, they're going to see a look that they think they've seen before, and the play is not going to be what they think is coming.
Yeah, so again, overall last night, a lot to be critical of last night. Again, just because it's Thursday doesn't mean you get to drop touchdowns. Just because it's Thursday doesn't mean you give up special teams returns. But overall, I thought Sean Payton called a really good game last night, and Sean Payton's play calling was the reason the Broncos won.
Yeah, and look, man, you've won 11 out of 12 now after stubbing your toe against Jacksonville. You have a home game to go 5-1 in the division, clinch it, and clinch the number 1 overall seed. You had the ball for 40 minutes on the road last night in a divisional game. Not much to complain about.
Not much to complain about. We got a lot of reaction coming in on the text line. Are we happy with the Broncos win? Should we just be happy and move on from it? Are there things to be critical? And what do we make of Bo Nix? We react to all of that next.
The Broncos took care of business in prime time and walked out of Arrowhead with a win. With just 1 game left in the regular season, as Sean Payton proves his team is ready for a playoff push. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Well, for years I've been telling you at Siltar Motors, you get everything you want out of a dealership. That's especially true this month. It's the Ford end-of-the-year savings event, and it's happening right now at Siltar Motors in Broomfield. 0% financing for up to 60 months, 0 down payment, and no payments for 90 days on select models, including all remaining 2025 F-150s, America's best-selling truck and Denver's favorite. Siltar is actually 5 big dealerships in one: Ford, Lincoln, Volvo, Mazda, and Maserati. Huge inventory. It's why they're so confident they have the car, truck, SUV, or electric vehicle you're looking for. Their service team is on site with quick lane for fast maintenance, and they stand behind every vehicle they sell. All this, and you can do all your car shopping and more right on their website at sthmotors.com. Siltar, locally owned and operated since 1960, 65 years of doing business the right way. It's the Ford end-of-year savings event at Siltar Motors, sthmotors.com, and conveniently located at Highway 36 in Wadsworth. Siltar Motors, get everything you want out of a dealership.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/Investor Day.
FIFA World Cup 2026 is coming soon, but your opportunity to be there starts now through an exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card. For a limited time, become a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card holder, and you will be eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more at BofA.com/cardFWC26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America NA in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. Rights reserved.
Enjoy this run to the playoffs and be safe when you're going to the games or to parties. If you do get into an accident, make the right call to Flanagan Law. While the other guys blend in, I stand out. Look for the Shamrock. Flanagan Law, your advocate when you need it most.
Your air duct cleaning experts, Ductworks.
Hey guys, feeling cooped up this winter? Mark Schlereth here. You know these Colorado nights can get freezing cold with your furnace running non-stop just to keep things cozy. But here's the thing. While your heating system is working overtime, it's also blowing dust, dirt, and debris through your air ducts and straight into the air you breathe. That's where Ductworks comes in. Your trusted air duct cleaning experts. Using a powerful combination of scraping and vacuuming technology, the Ductworks team clears out years of buildup, grime, and other gunk hiding in your ductwork. The results? Cleaner, fresher air, better energy efficiency, and a healthier home or office for you and your family. Don't wait until spring. Breathe easier now with top-rated service from Ductworks. Call them at 303-425-0985 or visit them online today at ductworks.com for a free residential or commercial estimate.
303-425-0985.
Catch a ride with EV and Auto. Catch a ride. Merry Christmas from EV and Auto and your friends at Foundation Chevrolet,
where we've got a whole lot of deals.
During the Red Tag sales event, dash away in a brand spanking new Chevy Equinox EV.
Or shiny new Chevy Blazer EV. All electric, all priced most merrily.
Together, let's drive. See us in Wheat Ridge or visit FoundationChevrolet.com.
Happy holidays and catch a ride.
What's going on, everybody? Philip Lindsay here. And last year I went a little rogue and dropped a discount code from our friends at Hermes Worldwide. And you guys used it so much they almost got mad at me. Well, I'm feeling a little spicy again this season, so I'm bringing it back, baby. You can get 30% off your ride to the game with Hermes Worldwide for your entire season. All you have to do is mention the code PL30. Again, mention PL30 when you book your luxury transportation to Empower Field. And contact Hermes Worldwide at 303-577-7600 or visit ridehermes.com/DenverSports. Go Broncos!
Hi, I'm Becca, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As an in-house designer, I can't wait for you to see our incredible selection of stylish and stackable rings. If you're shopping for your wedding bands, we have high-quality designs for every style and budget, from romantic to modern. If you're looking to add to a stack, your options are endless. Discover styles with clusters of gemstones, sleek all-metal designs, updated cigar bands, and signet rings perfect for an engraving. Because a friend knows you like options. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler. This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Stay up to date on the Broncos and the latest news from around the league with our NFL insider James Palmer, exclusively on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Mondays on The Rundown with Richie Carney, Tuesday afternoons on The Drive, and Friday mornings on Stokley and Evans with Mark Schlereth, all season long. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
John Davis and Chad Andrus sitting in for the fellas this morning. They will be back next week. Broncos reacting to a Broncos win. It's Chad, you know you're doing good when you read the text line, and at one point I'm too optimistic, and at the next point I'm too negative. I don't know where I fall, but that means there's a wide ways to view this Broncos game last night, and I think everybody at least is in the same position that they want the Super Bowl so bad for this team, that how people choose to view everything, it's like, hey, a win is a win, move on. It's hard to win in the NFL. Other people are saying, hey, get that it was a short week. That was a depleted team. You should have dominated it. So a lot of different approaches on how to view last night.
Yeah, glass half full, glass half empty, and there's both sides out there. It's hard to nitpick too much about this team. Look, guys, I know Will Peterson. I know Cecil Lammey, I think, had him at 13-4. I thought that was overly optimistic. They are going to be the only guys that ended up being proven right in that regard, or 14-3, actually, is on the table. Just enjoy it while you have it. Enjoy it while we have Nikola Jokic. Enjoy it while we have Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar. Enjoy it while the Broncos have figured out a way to win football games. But I do think the other side of that coin is the people who really, really want to see this franchise return to glory and not just go to, but win a Super Bowl, understand that there is still room for growth and room for this team to be better and things to clean up. And if you just want to be happy and go about your day that they win games and things are all fine and take it week by week, I understand that and I can appreciate that, but I more closely align with the people who are looking at the larger goal that Sean Payton and the organization is looking at is we are here to win the Super Bowl now. Yep. And that means some things have to be cleaned up and be better.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I'm ultra critical. If this was last year, I'd have been like, hey, man, it was a lot of they shouldn't be here right now getting any of these wins. Like when they blew out the Saints on Thursday, that was a terrible Saints team. But it's like, hey, get the win any way you can get them. This year, the expectations shift. As the season went, the expectations grew because they were establishing themselves as legitimately one of the top 3 best teams in the NFL. And I think when you go into Thanksgiving, number 1 in your division, number 1 in the conference, and you come out of there with 9-10 wins, at that point, Super Bowl is the goal, and anything less than that is a disappointment. And when that happens, your room for mistakes and your room for drops and your room for missed tackles, that becomes very important because those things will separate getting there and falling short.
You can be happy that they won a game in Arrowhead in December last night and had the ball for 40 minutes. You can be happy about that. But when you wake up this morning and you saw that beautiful orange and blue sunrise outside, they have a home game to secure the number 1 seed in the AFC. Starting this morning, the goal is to be in the Super Bowl. The goal is to win it, but the expectation is to be in the Super Bowl. You have a home game against a division rival that you haven't beaten since Jim Harbaugh has arrived there, and you can beat them to have the bye week and 2 home games to go to the Super Bowl. The expectation as of this morning is that they play in the Super Bowl. The goal is that they win it.
There you go. That's really well put. And Don sent us a good text, kind of going off what you're talking about. He said he wishes he had the confidence of us. Thank you for that, because other people tell us we haven't had any. But he says, by the way the Chargers are playing, it scares the heck out of Don. And that's kind of where you and I are at. The Chargers scares. You just mentioned it. Sean Payton talked last night about the Chargers and watching the Chargers versus the Texans.
Well, Joe Vitt didn't, right? And so he spoke to the team last night, and he went on and on about clinching tonight, and no one said anything, and I'm just thinking, come on, Joe. And so afterwards, they had made a little T-shirt and a hat with tape and poured a little champagne on Joe. Obviously, we know, who everyone kind of knows. So what was your question?
So that's a great Sean Payton. He's essentially talking about, clinching the division this weekend. It's the most Sean Payton answer ever. He kind of rambles some things and then he forgets the question. But overall, they know what's at stake. But I think overall, they're not depending on the Texans or the Chargers to finish this for them. They understand if we want to get where we have to go, we're in control. Let's not really worry about what happens in this game. Let's just beat whoever's put in front of us.
Chargers are favored at home against the Texans. I personally don't think they're going to win that game. I think the Broncos are going to clinch the AFC West tomorrow when the Texans beat the Chargers, leaving the number 1 seed as what they're playing for in the last week of the regular season.
Yeah.
But it will also mean the Chargers then are not playing for anything. So it might change the dynamic quite a bit and look a lot like what the Kansas City game looked like last year for Denver at home. And I think that is the most likely scenario to happen.
Yeah, that's a tough one they got. John, name the 4 members of Souls of Mischief, because I said about rap. Let me see. There's A+, I believe it's Opio, I think Festo, and I don't know the fourth.
I don't know.
So I don't know. They're part of the Hieroglyphics crew, which has Del the Funky Homo Sapien and a very, very underrated MC by the name of Casual. So whoever texted that in, you got me. I didn't know all 4. I'm a fraud.
You don't know anything, John.
I'm a fraud. But I mean, with that tomorrow, Chad, years ago there was this the Broncos in 2005. They're so happy that they're gonna beat that they don't have to play Peyton Manning because the Steelers go in Indy and then they come here and they whoop the Broncos in the AFC Championship game. While we want the Chargers to lose, let's not be totally thrilled the Texans win, because that team's going to be a real problem in the postseason.
Yeah, like I said when we started the show this morning, it's an odd dynamic. I'm more impressed with what the Chargers have done and accomplished and the grit and the toughness they've shown through injuries to be where they are, but I am more optimistic about the Texans' chances to make a playoff run because of where they are and how they do it. I don't think the Chargers thing is sustainable with the injuries against the high-level competition, even though I'm really impressed with what they've done to this point. I think what the Texans are doing and what they're finding is sustainable and could be problematic for the AFC.
Isn't it crazy the 3 teams we're talking about? It's Harbaugh, D'Amico, and Sean Payton, the 3 big head coaching hires of that offseason. 3 guys, the Broncos were interested in all 3. Sometimes when you need a new coach, it's about timing. And the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Texans, I think all ended up with the perfect guy for where their organization was and what they needed to do to become an elite contender.
I think it would almost be an identical situation if Payton and Harbaugh were flipped. I don't know about D'Amico Ryans. D'Amico Ryans with the defense and how they play is probably the right fit and probably would not have been here necessarily. But I would find it hard to believe that Harbaugh or Payton wouldn't have both had similar success if they would have went to the opposite teams.
I think they're both going to find success elsewhere. I think just with what each team's doing, it worked out. D'Amico, I don't think could have handled the Russell Wilson. I don't know.
And that's the one thing with Jim Harbaugh that would have been different here is I don't think he would have cut bait on Russ the way Sean did. So he would have had to try to figure it out without eating that cap money. And that would have been more difficult for him to do because neither one of those other 2 guys would have done that.
Yeah, I agree. That dynamic would have definitely shifted. The Denver Nuggets get a huge win last night. Andy Bailey of Bleacher Report joins us to talk about it next.
Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Denver Sports 1043 to stay up to date on all your local teams. Denver Sports 1043. The Fan.
The holidays, right? Good times. Plenty of holiday cheer, family and friends, good food. Everything's awesome, right? Right up until that unexpected plumbing problem that literally, pardon the pun, dampens your festivities. Copperhead Plumbing, available and ready to help to make sure your holidays stay safe and merry and bright. Been serving Colorado since 2007. Copperhead Plumbing, who I use, who I've recommended to Stink, Stoke, and Cecil here at the station when they've needed some plumbing help. They're professional, courteous, and extremely good at what they do. And as a added holiday bonus, visit their website, CopperheadPlumbingInc.com, to get a coupon for a free service call. Copperhead Plumbing on call in case of an emergency. But if you want to stay ahead of potential problems, you can get them in there before your family invades your house. Have Copperhead Plumbing out for preventative maintenance, water heater tune-ups, drain and disposal maintenance, as well as pipe inspection so potential leaks don't become headaches when they freeze up. Call 303-552-3491 and at CopperheadPlumbingInc.com. Also check out their different financing options. Copperhead Plumbing, they plumb different, they plumb custom.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're ready to improve your health. But if you're feeling low energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing results in the gym, keeping that resolution can be tough. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if those symptoms sound familiar, we can likely help. They often point to low testosterone, and treating low T is what we do. But this year, we're also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring growth hormone peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more, designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance boost recovery and accelerate fat loss. With our low T treatments combined with our body composition programs, most men notice real improvements. More energy, better focus, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and often a renewed sex drive as well. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or visit RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
This is Terrell Davis, two-time world champion and Hall of Famer, wishing you happy holidays from my friends at Colorado Credit Union. The holidays are all about family, giving, and looking ahead to a great new year. And just like a great team, Colorado Credit Union is here to support you, whether it's saving for holiday gifts, planning for the future, or just making life a little easier. From everyone at Colorado Credit Union, season's greetings and have a happy and healthy 2026. Colorado Credit Union. Love where you live, love where you bank. Membership eligibility required, federally insured by NCUA.
Want to look 10 years younger and lose 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds before spring? Then it's time for Soda Weight Loss. Soda Weight Loss works without drugs or crazy side effects. In fact, our disclaimer would sound like this.
Side effects at Soda Weight Loss may include looking better than you did in high school.
With Soda Weight Loss, you get round-the-clock access to your own personal nutritionist. And right now, when you join Soda Weight Loss, your partner joins for free. Visit sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Hey, Brandon Stokley here from my friends at Cajun Wealth. It's one thing to save for retirement. It's another to actually feel ready for it. For years, I thought I was doing all the right things, but there was always that nagging question in the back of my mind. Am I really prepared? That's when I turned to Cajun Wealth. They helped me build a real plan, one that gave me clarity and confidence. No pressure, no confusion jargon, just straightforward advice from fiduciaries who put my goals first. They took the time to explain my options, showed me strategies I hadn't considered, and never once tried to sell me something I didn't need. Now, I feel more confident, more prepared, and honestly relieved. I know my retirement plan is built around me, my goals, my timeline, and my future. That's why I'm a client today, and I couldn't be happier. Call my friends at Cajun Wealth and take the stress off your shoulders. 720-204-8100, or you can find them online at TrajanWealth.com. That's TRAJAN Wealth.com. They have offices conveniently located in Broomfield, Greenwood Village, and Loveland. Trajan Wealth. Plan smarter, dream bigger. Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, SEC registered investment advisor, client, paid advertisement. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
At 303 Law 4040, we know getting into an accident stinks, and so does getting worked over by the insurance company or even your slick-talking made-for-TV lawyer. So if we can help, just give us a call. 303 Law 4040. Save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. That's 303 Law 4040.
This holiday season, AutoNation is unwrapping the biggest gift of all. The car you actually want with zero down and no payments for 90 days. With our coast-to-coast inventory of nearly 100,000 new and used cars, trucks, and crossovers, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. Zero down, no payments until April. That's the deal you deserve on the car you love. Hurry to your nearest AutoNation store or AutoNation.com. Limited term financing on approved credit. Interest accrues from date of purchase on deferred payments. See store for details.
Hey, Broncos country, it's Terrell Davis here. You know, in the game of life, our most valuable asset is our health.
At Fitness Gallery, we have deals everywhere, up to 50% off. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. We have you covered.
Need a new water heater? Euro Plumbing has lifetime warranties, great financing, and low pricing. 720-500-3000. 720-500-3000.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
John Davis and Chad Andrews sitting in for the fellas today. The Nuggets get a big win last night on Christmas Day against their more recent rival, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we are now joined by Andy Bailey of Bleacher Report. Andy, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Just kind of dive right in. 56, 16, and 15. How brilliant was Nikola Jokic last night?
I think the word would be impossibly. I continue to just be floored by not just the individual stat lines that he puts up, but just his overall command of the game, particularly on the offensive end. I mean, I think that's the thing that everybody understands and accepts at this point, but he's, often in command of what Denver does defensively too. I don't, I've been saying this for a few years now. I don't think I've ever seen anybody who truly not just impacts, but sort of controls the way that the game goes for the full 48 minutes, and in last night's case, 53 minutes. It's truly just insane. And this is not this is kind of a cliche at this point, but we really are taking him for granted. It happens with a lot of guys. It happened with Jordan, LeBron, like all the guys who kind of reached this level. But I think people really are kind of underappreciating just how spectacular of a player he's become. It's pretty unreal.
Do you think the opinion of the players in the league has finally gotten over the hump? I don't know that the public opinion ever will. And you can expand if you want to on the tweet you had when you quote tweeted Justin Termini of NBA radio on Sirius XM this morning in terms of how he's viewed on the all-time ladder. I think from the championship season, from the Olympic run with Serbia and what it took with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant's performance to overcome it, I think the other great players have finally turned the corner and given up all hope, and they accept him even if they won't publicly say it in that regard, even if the public is never, ever going to turn that corner without 5, 6, or more championships.
I think for the most part they have. I still think there's maybe a reluctance to talk about it, as you just alluded to, and maybe that's like the final boss level for him with the other players. But I think there's been a shift in perception among fans, too, over the last couple of years. I mean, for somebody who's been in the trenches of the Jokic fight since going back to before the MVP seasons, it was amazing to see what people would say about him then to now. Now, there's always going to be bozos online who say what they say about him and will do what they can to detract from what he's doing. But I think he's shifted the perception of everyone over the last few years. And in reference to that tweet that I had this morning, or post, whatever it's called now, Termini said something about, I can't remember exactly how he put it, but basically,
I've got it. I'll let you follow up. Justin Termini said if media covered games instead of personalities, then this guy would be viewed as good as anyone who has ever played.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that position by him. I think he's right on the money there. And I think all I really added was I think it's almost indisputable at this point that we've never seen anybody play better over a 4 or 5 year stretch. Or pick 1 year. Pick any 1 year out of the last 5, and you can make an argument that it's the best season ever. I mean, that's how good he's been. And so as far as peaks go, I really think it'd be pretty easy for me to make the argument that he's had the best one ever. And I'm including guys like Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And that's just the fact at this point, at least statistically. Now, the debate for all-time ladders always brings in legacy stuff and resumes and how many championships do you have and how many All-NBA nods and All-Star appearances and all that stuff. And Jokic is 30 or 31 years old, whatever he is. So he doesn't have the resume that some of those other guys on the all-time ladder do. So I'm fine if you're, making your list and he's still outside the top 10, I get it. But if you were to do a list of like the best single season peak, 3-year peak, 5-year peak, any of those, I think I could very easily have him at number 1 and defend it without sweating much. I mean, he's truly been unlike anything I've ever seen. And I've been covering the NBA for Bleacher Report for 15 years. I've been watching it as a fan for a lot longer than that. So I've seen a lot. I mean, I don't dip back into the 80s too far, but I've seen a lot of the NBA, and I've never seen anything like this.
We are talking to Andy Bailey, who writes about the NBA for Bleacher Report. Andy, the Nuggets, 3 of 5 starters are out. Don't really have a timetable when we can expect any of them back, maybe Brown and Gordon sooner. But let's say this Nuggets team, due to injuries, has to get the 4th seed or the 5th seed, but they're fully healthy in the playoffs. If fully healthy in the playoffs, regardless of seed, can this Nuggets team make a championship run?
I think absolutely. I think they still have to be, if you're rattling off these are the legit contenders, I still think they have to be the second team that you name. OKC, they're a juggernaut, and as difficult as they may be for me to watch as somebody who doesn't really love their brand of offense and defense for that matter, I mean, they hack away and they get away with a lot of it, and then they go to the line for a lot less on the other end, and that just kind of bugs me. But they're incredible. Very talented, very young, still on the way up. So I think it's fair to keep them at number one, even with this little slide they're in the last week or so. But after them, it's the Nuggets, and the Nuggets, and I think the Spurs, and the Spurs have proven this already this season. They both have an ingredient that may be the one weakness for OKC. They have good big guys, but they don't have like big, physically dominant big guys. OKC, and obviously Denver has that with Jokic. They have the best player in the world who happens to be a big guy, and he can really bully somebody like Chad or even Hartenstein. And even though Wembanyama is not, he's obviously not as thick or as burly as Jokic, he's still an athletic freak at his size, and so he's a problem as a big man in a different way. And I think they both cause OKC problems with the front court. Now, San Antonio also has hyper-athletic guards that they can throw at guys like SGA and Jalen Williams. So they might be even more of a bugaboo for the Thunder than the Nuggets are. I think either one of those teams can beat the Thunder in a series. I'm not sure I'd pick either one, but I wouldn't be stunned if either one of those teams beat OKC in a 7-game series.
This is why I think it's a lot more interesting than maybe the general public thinks. It's not going to be a runaway for the Thunder. The Nuggets have everything you just described. The Spurs have everything you just described against OKC. But they also are willing to take mid-range shots and hit them at high efficiency and score in both places against OKC when OKC defends the rim and defends the three-point line. But the mid-range is where there's a vulnerability. And, there's another team out there that has Kevin Durant that just assassinates people from the mid-range. So what's the ideal?
Sorry to cut you off, but the other thing about Houston is they can bully him inside, too. I mean, they have
they're huge.
Dominant offensive rebounders.
Yeah, so is it too early? We're not even in the new year yet. Is it too early to start the standings watch and go, what would be ideal 1 through 4 in the West for a path when you're talking about OKC, you're almost conceding the 1-2, but how it falls 2, 3, 4, what the best path is for the Nuggets, Spurs, or Rockets, and who they would play when?
It's probably never too early to start thinking about that. And I've always been on the fence about how much do you want to game your path to the finals, because almost every year you're going to have to beat somebody really good on the way there. And Denver had to do that in the year they won the title. They beat the Suns and the Lakers, who I think public perception had Denver losing both of those series. So it's always been sort of an internal debate to me, how much should you even care about your playoff path? But I don't think it's too early to start thinking about it, for sure. The other thing about the West is every year now, and this is an ongoing take for me, and it's not revolutionary or anything. The difference between the West and the East is insane. And so if you're on the Western Conference side of the bracket, it almost doesn't matter where your seed is, because you're going to have tough playoff matchups. And in December, whatever the standings may be, you're going to in February, March, you're going to be within 2 or 3 games of 5 or 6 other very, very good teams. And so, I mean, you could have a 50-win team in 7th place in the West in a given year. So matchups are just kind of a tricky thing in general in the Western Conference. I get the inclination to think about what's the preferred path to get Denver to the finals. I understand that. But there's a lot to happen between now and the start of the playoffs. And the West is just always a gauntlet, regardless of where you end up.
And Andy, it was a late game last night. We appreciate you jumping on this morning to talk the Nuggets with us. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again as this NBA season moves on and the Nuggets hopefully keep winning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
That was Andy Bailey, NBA writer for Bleacher Report. You can follow him at Andrew D. Bailey on Twitter. The Broncos won. What did it look like, and does how it look even matter? Chad and I get into that next.
Follow us on X at DEN Sports 1043 for up-to-the-minute information and opinions on all things Denver sports. Also, we can still call it Twitter, right? Denver Sports 1043 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app.
Hey, guys, you live with back pain, neck pain, worried about needing surgery. How about taking all those habit-forming medications? Well, my guys at Spine One specialize in treatments that offer alternatives to major surgery and long-term medication. And here's the best news. You can do what I did. Start your journey toward pain-free today. They're a phone call away, 303-367-2225, 303-367-BACK. Spine One is a complete medical center for spine care. They've got MRIs, exams, physical therapy, treatment options, all in one facility. And their board-certified physicians can educate you on what's going on and then give you treatment options for both nagging and debilitating pain. Guys, they changed my life. I suffered with debilitating pain for decades to the point where it checked me out of life. I mean, I just couldn't sleep through the night. If I quit going to the gym, a couple of short treatments with my guys at Spine One, I was back doing things I hadn't done in forever. Most importantly, sleeping through the night again. Guys, not waking up 5, 6, 7 times with back pain. They can do it for you too. Call them today and start your journey. 303-367-2225, 303-367-BACK. Or as always, you can find them online at spineone.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Our country is held together by small businesses. That's a fact. It's also a fact that 9 out of 10 of those small businesses will fail. Why? Because it's hard, really, really hard to build a profitable business from the ground up today. Pure Talk knows that. They started as a small American wireless company determined to keep their customer service in this country. It worked. And today, Pure Talk is determined to help other small businesses prosper by offering them the same white glove service the big guys get. Same service, same 5G network at a truly affordable price. Pure Talk is focused on businesses that employ welders and roofers, electricians, plumbers, HVAC techs, the people who keep the lights on. If that sounds like your business, give Pure Talk Business a try and see just how much you could save. Dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who understands the power of small business. Pure Talk.
Need a plumber? Euro Plumbing has the lowest prices in town. Rock bottom prices on whole house repipes, sewer line repairs, even water heaters. 720-500-3000.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan brought to you by Flanagan Law.
Tune into Stokley and Evans with Mark Schlereth, Wednesdays at 9:15 to hear ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky break down Bo Nix and the Broncos every week during football season. Denver Sports, 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
John Davis and Chad Andrews sitting in for the guys, reacting to the Denver Broncos last night. Chad, it's always wild when a win is controversial, but this one is because it was aggravating to watch the Broncos for periods of time last night. And to everybody saying you should enjoy the win, get out of it, stop being so negative. I understand wanting to celebrate a win on a short week against a division opponent, regardless who's over there. But I challenge anybody to tell me they just sat back, relaxed, just enjoyed that game last night. Like, oh, we got this is going good. Broncos going to win. I felt they would always win. But I don't know if anybody can tell me they honestly sat back and just enjoyed it and felt comfortable with how the Broncos played throughout that game.
Especially in the first half.
Right.
I think the first half, when you watched Bo make 3 throws on the run off his back foot without setting his feet for no reason at all whatsoever. Not pressured, completely unprompted, doing things that were completely unnecessary in the situation to go into the locker room trailing. I think that was a very high level of frustration. Things turned around a little bit in the second half, was a little bit better. They move forward from there. Your texts were a little less angry towards the team in the second half. Look, I can't sit here and say for an entire season, I don't care what it looks like, just win games and figure out where the chips fall at the end and then be upset at the way they won last night. So they went on the road and had the ball for 40 minutes of the game. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to run with it, and play a home game for the number 1 seed against the Chargers.
Yeah, last night's game to me, you're right, specifically the first half, there was a lot of frustration, a lot of, oh, come on. And then when it was done, I'm like, that wasn't so bad. But you're right, in the first half. The interception was rough. Bo shouldn't have thrown that ball, at least shouldn't have thrown it the way he did. Cortland Sutton's drops were there. You're outplaying this team. The Broncos are out there. They're outplaying this team, and you're losing 7-6 at halftime.
To Chris Oladokun. And so I think to pretend that at that point it was like, this is fine, it's Thursday night, short week. So, you're in the red zone twice. Those weren't 2 55-yard field goals. You were down there, and you could have had touchdowns, and you had drops, and the play calling got a little sloppy, and you let Oladokun, convert a third down after that interception. It got them into the end zone. It was just a lot of, come on, you guys, let's get it together. This is not how this needs to look.
We
know you're better than this.
Yes, exactly. And it was just a lot of that. The flip side is I'm a big fan of how they controlled the game. That, I think, plays, something you pointed out, plays to their talent, plays to how they've built the roster. When they play like they did in the second half, you allow everybody to do what they do best, and you're not trying to fool anybody. We're better. Like, these players do these different things. You're not putting players in a spot that they can't play. That's what I really liked about the second half play calling. I thought Bo settled down. I thought he was really good in the second half. I think he was like 13 of 16, accounted for 2 touchdowns. So there was quite a bit of a turnaround in the second half, but it wasn't fluky. It was actually the proper way this team can control games and make a deep run in the playoffs.
Yeah, and as frustrating as it may have been watching the first half of that game, I don't think most fans, and I certainly don't think Sean Payton or the team ever felt like they were in trouble or that the game was going to be in jeopardy. So I think they knew what they were doing. They had a game plan. They kept it simple, kept it very basic and right in front of them on a short week against a team that was very much shorthanded and undermanned. And I don't think they were ever sweating the outcome. But I do think there are some things you point to, particularly the red zone efficiency, the drop passes by your top target, and some of the things that the quarterback was doing unprompted, not because he was pressured, he just decided to throw the ball on the run when he could have set his feet and made a more accurate pass that caused 2 incompletions and another interception in the first half. It's just frustrating when they know better and can be better.
Yeah, and with Bo right there, after the Green Bay game, everybody was sizing him up for a gold jacket, and everything was fine, and he had overcome all the deficiencies from earlier in the season. Well, then last night, I keep using the term muscle memory kicked in, and it kicked in against Jacksonville in the second half as well. But then to see him adjust again in the second half, start hitting the throws, things seemed to settle down. The game seemed to slow down for Bo quite a bit. One thing that I think is very crucial about the way they won that game, controlling the clock, controlling the line of scrimmage, keeping that other defense on the field, is if this defense is going to be a little, Anilo Piro used the term earlier this week, leaky, this Broncos defense, well, provide less opportunities for them to be leaky against the opponent. Don't let them be out there for all these drives, all these long sustained drives. So right now, what happened, it's more sustainable for the offense to win the game like the Broncos did, but it also allows the defense to rest and kind of have, not be so desperate when they're out there, be more rested, get after the quarterback. So it doesn't just benefit the Broncos offense to play to that talent. The defense also benefits quite a bit.
Yeah, and the defense needed a bounce back game, and they needed a response game because they haven't been good since the bye week. And teams have had their way with them, and now having to adjust without Brandon Jones, without Dre Greenlaw, right? There's still some things in flux on the middle of the field, that side of the football. Nick Benito clearly looks like he's an injured player, and it hasn't had the impact on the game that we know he's capable of having. I will say I think Jonah Ellis has been great the last couple of weeks and has had a huge impact, and him getting a lot of snaps. They've benefited from that, but in addition to Bonino, I don't think you see the impact of Zach Owen and Jonathan Cooper that you saw early in the season. And if they're tired, if they're out of gas, they now have 10 days to get right. And then if they take care of business in that game, they've got another 2 weeks before they have to play again. So fatigue should not be a reason or an excuse going forward.
Right, yeah. Bonito, if you didn't see last night, he's got a club on the hand, and then he had a brace on his arm. I mean, he was basically, the next step would be playing in a sling with everything that Nick Bonito. So he's been playing through it. If you remember the Tim Tebow year, the magical year, that was Von Miller's rookie year. Von was wrecking everybody that whole year, but then he had to play with a club late in the year, and his production and his effectiveness actually dropped off quite a bit in the end of that season, playing into that game, even with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that club on the hand, while they're out there, they can be disruptive getting off. It restricts a lot of the effectiveness for those edge rushers.
Didn't Bonito have to do this last year?
I believe so. Cooper was playing with one too. I think that's off now on him, but he had a thumb. So did Bonito? He might have. I think you're right.
I feel like he's played with the club on his hand before.
Yeah.
Whether it was last year or 2 years ago.
He might have. But with that, the thing is, with the injuries to the middle of the field, unfortunately, the Broncos aren't in a position for their top three guys in that front seven to suddenly be running out of gas. They've got to find a way to make those guys involved. Really, if Bonito, Cooper, and Allen are having a good game, the Broncos are going to win. The Broncos are going to win most of those because the other offense is battered, they're demoralized, and there's just really not a lot they can do. When the other quarterback gets comfortable, the Trevor Lawrences, the Jordan Loves of the world, then you start to see scoring drives every time. Even if you're bend but don't break, they're scoring every drive, and eventually that opens up to a touchdown. So they've got to get those three guys back to kind of menacing the quarterback. Even if it wasn't the game plan last night, it ultimately needs to kind of start to show back up in the postseason.
Yeah, especially who they're going to play. Whether it's Justin Herbert or C.J. Stroud or Josh Allen I think it'd be lovely if Pittsburgh is an opponent.
That'd be great.
At some point, because that would be a get-right game in the playoffs for the pass rush and for the defensive front, because that statue isn't getting away from anything, and they would crush Aaron Rodgers. But the rest of the guys that they're going to have to go up against, and maybe potentially eventually a Matthew Stafford or a Sam Darnold, it's going to have to return to its previous form early in the season.
And even you look at a guy like Justin Herbert, who to me is a top 5 guy in the league right now this season. I mean, Justin Herbert has played out of his mind. He's not, when you think about Justin Herbert using his legs, you're not like, is that Randall Cunningham out there? But he is such a smart player that when that middle of that field opens up, if there's a 7-8 yard run in front of him, Justin Herbert's going to take off. He's beat the Broncos with that. I think last year he had like a 3rd and 17. He ran for it. The middle of the field was kind of open last night. Maybe they're doing bend but don't break, keep everything in front of them. But that's been popping up a lot lately in the Broncos game plans. Without Greenlaw, without Brandon Jones, they've got to find a way to not allow these just when you over pursue on the edge, the quarterback can step up and the entire field is in front of them.
Yeah, you're not going to play Chris Oladokun anymore.
No. It's only good quarterbacks the rest of the way. And Mahomes didn't play last night, but the schedulers gave him Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, what was thought to be Patrick Mahomes, and then Justin Herbert heading into the playoffs. So they've been going up against a lot of the top guys, and a lot of those top guys have been beating them. So, again, happy with the win. Last night, there wasn't a lot to take away defensively. They just kind of let the vanilla game plan beat Chris Oladokun, which is all you needed to do. But it's going to pick back up between now and the Super Bowl if that's where the Broncos ultimately end up. So hopefully we get to see them play that long and get into the Super Bowl. But things to clean up. But overall, happy with the Broncos win. Bo Nix, we talked about it a little bit. How do we feel about Bo Nix heading into the Chargers game and the postseason? We'll do that next.
The Broncos took care of business in prime time and walked out of Arrowhead with a win. With just one game left in the regular season, as Sean Payton proved his team is ready for a playoff push. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey guys, your boy Stink here with my friends at O'Meara Ford. You don't want to miss the year-end event just in time for the holidays. They have huge year-end discounts and 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years without paying a single cent of interest. Plus, make no down payment and no monthly payments for 90 whole days. O'Meara Ford will make your buying experience fast, fun, and so easy. They accept I-10s. Just tell them Stink sent you. Need Santa cash fast? Well, O'Meara Ford will buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one from them. Don't miss 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days and 0 interest for 60 months at the year-end event at O'Meara Ford. Guys, it doesn't get any better than O'Meara Ford. You can stop by their showroom at 104th and I-25. I've been there, and I can tell you firsthand, it's absolutely gorgeous. O'Meara Ford, find them online at o'mearaford.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids.
Hurry! It's your last chance to donate for 2025.
Donate your car today.
Call 1-877-CARS for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Hurry! It's your last chance to donate for 2025.
Men, the new year is here, and improving your health may be one of your big resolutions, but when you're tired, low on energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing progress in the gym, staying committed can be tough. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic can help with that resolution because those symptoms are often signs of low testosterone, to go along with brain fog, feeling sad or depressed, loss of sex drive. Good news, the folks at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic are here to put you into that resolution mode. They can customize a plan for you to get you and your T levels back to normal. Low T, nothing to feel bad about. It's common. We guys, early to mid-30s, start losing 2 to 3% of our testosterone production every year. So do me a favor, go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com, take their low T quiz, 10 simple yes or no questions, could give you a better idea if your T levels are low. Then schedule a consult, just $99. Start low T treatment that day. Your office visit is free. 5 locations around Denver better serve you, including Fort Collins and Colorado Springs, and a new and improved office in Castle Rock. Call 720-440-7900 and at RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
This holiday season, don't drink and drive. But if you are in an accident, you're in luck. Flanagan Law, where strength meets compassion. While the other guys blend in, I stand out. Look for the Shamrock. Flanagan Law, your advocate when you need it most.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Roller Auctions.
It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
Broncos get the win. It's Chad Andrews, John Davis, Alex Becker behind the glass. Alex, have you cracked the mic? The Broncos win last night. How did you take it? Were you frustrated? Were you okay with it?
I was okay with it. I think these late season games on a short week, Christmas night, in a tough stadium to play in as well. Sometimes it's not about style points. Sometimes it's just being better than the other team on that given night. And I think the Broncos found a way to win, just like they have all season.
Yeah, happy with the win. One thing, too, that I think's not talked about is it's a short week. That was a really exhausting game against Jacksonville that they were coming off of. So not only was it a short week, that game last Sunday against Jacksonville really took it out of them.
Yeah, and I think you can look back at the cumulative effect, right? Because Green Bay the week before was an exhausting game. That's 2 back-to-back. And look, I know the guys live here, and they should be acclimated and used to it. You're still giving full effort and exerting your body at elevation.
Yeah.
It's hard to recover from that. And, the Raiders game was a bit of an off week, right? There wasn't a whole lot of pressure, wasn't a whole lot of stress in that game. But even back to the Washington game, right, and traveling across country, that was a close game, high effort, high energy. And then you're talking about Green Bay, Jacksonville. So that's 3 out of 4 weeks where you're in very intense, high energy, high effort games, which is what everything is going forward now, this time of the year.
And with that, Bo Nix, I liked Bo last night. I was very frustrated in the first half, but I ended up being pretty good with his performance. In the second half, Bo was 13 of 16, 115 yards, 2 total touchdowns, 81.3 completion rate. That's from Pro Football Focus. So in a game where he struggled in the first half, to see Bo come out in the second half and kind of really be in command of that Broncos offense. I think they punted once in the second half, but overall they were able to get down there, get 2 touchdowns. So in the first half, they're not getting in the end zone when they get down there. In the second half, they're able to turn that into touchdowns. I thought it was a nice turnaround from Bo.
Yeah, I think he stopped screwing around.
Yeah.
I think the stuff that was frustrating in the first half was all self-inflicted. With his footwork, throwing on the run, throwing off of his back foot for no reason without being pressured, those are all self-inflicted mistakes. Like, there was no reason for him to do that, and he stopped screwing around in the second half. It looked a lot better. Broncos more than doubled them up in first downs, more than doubled them up in yardage, doubled them up essentially in time of possession. Look, there's not a lot to complain about when you dominate a game to that level. It's just I think people get frustrated when they see those things and there's not more than 20 points on the board.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair criticism too, because that's how you lose games. I mean, that's how you lose it is you dominate everything, but then you don't execute in the moments that matter most. You get field goals instead of touchdowns. But overall, the time of possession, this was a team that had a big 3-and-out issue last year and most of this year. That seems to have dissipated a little bit in recent weeks. With that, it has dissipated, but the concern, my thing with Bo, coming back to you talking about him kind of running around Green Bay, we saw him kind of start to finally get that how to run, manipulate the defense, and then complete the pass. For the Broncos to keep going, I think they do need Bo out throwing on the run, but he's got to get the mechanics of it right, because Jacksonville kept him in the pocket, and that seemed to not allow him to be as fully effective as he can. Do you think they need to try to keep him in the pocket, maybe get him to use his legs? Where do you fall on where Bo's kind of best going forward throwing the ball?
I'm fine with him being on the move, and even if it gives him a clearer view down the field, I'm fine doing that. I would just like it to look a lot more like Mike Shanahan and Jake Plummer with a naked boot or rollout where Plummer would always set his feet and throw.
Yeah.
The difference is Bo just keeps moving and runs. He doesn't necessarily set his feet every time. But if they did more of that, I think that'd be okay.
It worked on the R.J. Harvey touchdown. They rolled him out, and he threw a really good pass.
Yeah, and
in
terms of being in command, if you watch that play back in slow motion, he points. Like, R.J. Harvey stopped and moved back to his right to get away from the defender, and Bo is pointing for him to do that, right? Like, they are clearly in concert there and making that play happen on the move. But again, he is able to make an accurate throw in that situation because he wasn't throwing off of his back foot, not off of his right foot and forcing it the way he was in the first half.
Right, and that's kind of the frustrating part with a lot of this, and that's something you and I had talked about a lot this year in the pregames, is my concern was the footwork stuff was not going to be fixed this season, that it was an off-season thing. You're doing game plans during the week, but it does feel we've seen less of that. Last week it kind of came back. Another thing I liked about Bo last night, though, is that there was drop passes, there were some decent runs, but overall, the offense wasn't humming, and I like that it seemed to be Bo Nix decided to be the one to say, hey, I'm going to be the reason this offense starts executing a little bit better in the second half. If anybody's going to do that, it might as well be your starting quarterback.
Were you surprised in that first half they called the design quarterback run to the right side?
I liked it. I was surprised because we just haven't seen it. I thought it was interesting for it to come out in that game against that opponent. I thought maybe that's something you save for the Chargers, but now it's something on film that the opposing team have to kind of look for a little bit more.
I would like for it to be part of the game plan going forward, given the competition they're going to face. I do want to see him use his feet and his athleticism more because I think it's a benefit they haven't tapped into. And if you want more than 20 points on the board, I think that is part of the key to unlocking it.
I think that's a great point. I think another part about it, too, is you actually need to get him running more because Bo actually needs to get better. For one, never take the hit. Let me be very clear here. It seems like sometimes he runs out of bounds when there's a couple more yards to be gained. And I'm not saying, again, that you dive head first and do the Elway helicopter, but just the more he's kind of out there moving around, the more comfortable he'll get picking up those extra few yards because the opportunities are there for him. He just doesn't do it that much. He always wants to throw first, which I understand, but there's a lot there for him. So the more you design it, the more comfortable he might be taking off when it's there later in the game.
I think it just gets him engaged in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the difference in, someone who is a shooter that camps out at the three-point line waiting for the ball versus going on a dribble drive and attacking the basket and taking a hard foul and then getting an and one, but they're suddenly in the game. They can feel it. They're part of it. They're in the mix. Now let's mix it up. Let's go. Let's play. Right? I think there's just a competitive element to it instead of just sitting back untouched all the time because he doesn't get hit very often.
No, the offensive line's great most of the time. And it's funny, though, once they're down close, Bo's more than willing to take off for that touchdown. He's done that quite a bit and been very effective. So maybe it's one of those, hey, you can have that type of aggressiveness when it's a first down on the line. You don't necessarily need to take off there. They get to the red zone in the first half. It's their second trip to the red zone. Sean Payton calls some really good plays there. He's got Cortland coming across. Cortland catches it. It's a touchdown. Bo throws it on the broadcast. I think it's Herb Street saying he threw it too hard. Threw too hard for Cortland to catch it. Where do you land? Did Bo throw it too hard, or does Cortland need to come down with that ball?
Sometimes in those close quarters, there is part of that. I'm not going to defend Kirk Herbstreit. I'm not a fan. I don't care for the guy.
That's who it was, right? It's Herbstreit on that call.
Yeah. That broadcast team has something.
Al Michaels does not care.
Have to be no, he's done. Yeah, he's tapped out. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Bo has the greatest touch necessarily all the time. I do think some of the times in those tight windows, in those goal line situations, he looks like he is having to apply more effort than it should. It looks like it's a try-hard play when it should look a little more effortless. That play in particular, I'm not going to pick a side. It's a coin flip, right? Cortland had some balls that he should have caught.
It should have been a touchdown is kind of where I land, regardless if the pass needed to be better or it needed to be caught. I do land, I think Cortland should have caught it. That's kind of where I go. You're right with the close quarters, but yeah, wherever it lands, that the coach gave you the play. You guys did everything right except the most important part. I think that should have been a putt touchdown. I do put that part on Cortland. And then obviously, okay, so you don't get that. You're out of bounds on the next one. Third down, Cortland, when you're in the end zone and there's guys all around you and Bo puts the ball in the most catchable spot, you have to come down with that. I don't care if you get hit. So that was even more disappointing than the crosser because Bo executed everything he needed to there.
Yeah, and he actually did basically take it to the ground and then lost
it. Right, yeah, he had it.
Right, so it wasn't like he dropped it out of his hands. It was when he hit the ground.
Yeah, he actually did the hard part already. And that's been a thing with Cortland. He was good in the first half against Jacksonville. Him and Bo had a great touchdown. But right now, I'm concerned about the drops, and I can't rely on, he'll make that catch in the postseason. It's like, he couldn't make it against a team that's not trying to win. So what's going to happen when he's playing it against a team that has something on the line, and that thing on the line is the Super Bowl? Cortland usually makes up for things. It's not like he's outright unreliable all the time. I don't know if that's exhaustion, too. We're looking at the defense. This team could just be tired playing these long, close games in this win streak. They haven't really had a game off. Maybe the Raiders game, this last Raiders game. So maybe he's exhausted. Again, all the more important, you take advantage of this 10 days and you go out, you beat the Chargers, then you get another week off. Because these guys right now, if they are tired, they've got to get rest. And so with that being on the line, this is kind of a weird question because they go hand in hand. What's more important for this Broncos team to get to the Super Bowl? Is it home field or is it resting and getting healthy?
I think it's home field. They've proven that they can win games without Greenlaw on the field. They've proven they can win games without Nate Adkins on the field. Brandon Jones, I think, is still very much a question mark and up in the air as to what they've proven in that regard. But for me, when I'm talking about home field, I'm also talking about the number one seed and eliminating one game.
That's the big one.
Yeah. The path to me is playing at home and only playing 2 games to get there. So whether you think that is for the rest and for the health or it's because of the home field advantage, they go hand in hand. They need both. I would be shocked. I'm not saying they can't do it. I would be shocked if this team went on the road twice and won 3 games to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so would I. That's a pretty tall order for this team. But it was Christmas, and the Broncos and the Nuggets both win, so Christmas wasn't ruined. We react to both big wins over their rivals, and we do that next.
Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Denver Sports 1043 to stay up to date on all your local teams. Denver Sports 1043. The Fan.
Soon, if not already, businesses throughout the world will draft their mission statements. These complicated documents, filled with legal jargon and mysterious words, define corporate goals and objectives. We do that, but ours is different. This is Glenn Jameron, president of Alpine Bank, member FDIC. Our mission boils down to two simple words. If we dedicate ourselves to these two words, everything else will follow. What are they? Be kind. The English language contains hundreds of thousands of words, but at Alpine Bank, two are all we need. Alpine Bank, committed to Colorado and you.
Winter is officially here, Denver, and Hermes Worldwide is your ride to all action. Whether you're bundling up to cheer on the Broncos at Empower Field or heading downtown to catch an Avs or Nuggets game, make sure you get there on time and in style. This holiday season, let Hermes Worldwide handle your Christmas light tours, festive nights out, and stress-free airport transfers. Skip the traffic, snow, and parking hassles. Ride in warm, comfortable luxury with a professional driver who gets you there safely. Book now at 303-577-7600 or visit ridehermes.com/DenverSports.
Hi, I'm Lacey, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. And yes, I'm actually a jeweler. I bring dream engagement rings to life every day in our jeweler's workshop. When I hand set your diamond into your ring, I think about creating a piece you'll wear for a lifetime. I pay attention to the smallest details and treat every ring with the same care and craftsmanship, no matter the size or price. Come check us out at your nearby store. Our engagement rings are made with love from our hands to yours, because a friend knows your love deserves the highest quality. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
The Ford End of the Year Savings Event is happening now at Siltahar Motors. Get 0% financing for up to 60 months, 0 down payment, and no payments for 90 days on select models, including all remaining 2025 F-150s, America's and Denver's best-selling truck. Conveniently located at Highway 36 in Wadsworth, or shop their entire inventory with sale pricing at sthmotors.com. Happy holidays from Siltahar Motors. Get everything you want out of a dealership.
Most business owners and decision makers work hard but stay frustrated because customers simply don't know they exist. Marketing isn't about being flashy. It's about making sure people understand how you solve their problem. Audio, video, and online campaigns put your message where your customers are already paying attention. And your friends at Denver Sports, they specialize in connecting customers to businesses. The moment you get clear and show up consistently, growth follows. Don't stay the best kept secret in town. Visit DenverSports.com and click on the Advertise with Us button and start growing today.
This holiday season, give the ultimate gift, a College Invest savings account. Do it by December 31st to qualify for a Colorado tax deduction. collegeinvest.org.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Jacob's Law, 303 Law 4040.
Get ready for every Broncos game with Super Bowl 50 champion Brandon Marshall as he joins the drive every Friday afternoon at 4:45 exclusively on Denver Sports 1043 The Fan. Thanks to Corwin Toyota Boulder. Denver Sports 1043 The Fan. DenverSports.com and the Denver Sports app. It's a Bud Light Football Friday. Bud Light, an official beer sponsor of the Denver Broncos.
John Davis, Chad Andrews, sitting in for the guys, getting some good text in. We were just talking Bo Nix. Want to get to a couple here. We got Wade. Bo late in the fourth. Bo gets excited after play. Might have been the fourth down. The TV cut to Sean Payton, but in the upper left corner, Sean Payton motions to Bo to calm down. I didn't see that. I saw something like that. I guess that's probably what it was. But Bo getting excited. I don't know. I think that's a good thing. If he's getting riled up and he's excited out there, it shows he's being competitive, not necessarily intimidated.
Yeah, I think the closest comparison of what I believe he could be, and I've been wrong before. Maybe I'm way off base. But I think the finished product of Bo Nix looks a lot more like the best versions of Baker Mayfield.
Mhm.
And there's a competitive fire to both of those guys that shows emotion. They're not the emotionless robot that just goes out there and executes. They're not, some of the guys we've seen in the past, or even, Tom Brady, who seemed emotionless at times, but you saw plenty of fist pumps and excitement from that guy.
Oh,
right.
All the time.
Over time. So, I don't think you can coach personality out of a guy. You got to just run with who they are and maximize it. And I think when that stuff comes out in Bo, it's very similar to the way maybe it comes out in Baker when big plays are made or when they can, compete at a high level and mix it up. And I think it fuels their fire a little bit. So,
yeah,
I have no
whatever.
problem with it.
My whole thing is whatever gets you to play your best. That's why I don't get mad at Kevin Durant's tweets, because they don't affect him on the court. That's my thing with guys is if what you're doing affects your team and how you play, don't do it. But if it has no effect on it, do whatever you want. Tom Brady, when the Broncos were on the run with Tebow and they won like 6-7 straight, and then the Patriots came to town and beat them, after all the hype around Tebow, Brady ran for a touchdown and got up and spiked the hell out of that ball in Denver. And he knew nobody was suggesting Tebow was better than him, but I think he also had there's no reason to look at that guy while I'm still around. And Brady made quite the point that day that, yeah, it's a nice story, but we're still the big dogs.
Yeah, then he was around for 10 more years.
Yeah, and won like 4 more Super Bowls. But he would have won more, but the Broncos, unlike the rest of the NFL, were willing to actually try to beat the Patriots rather than play scared.
Love you, Tim
through all
Bailey.
those years. And then we got a good one. Bo needs to get better looking off of coverage. Too many drops and balls too high. I'm not a fan of the trips right screenplay every week. I think I can get on board with that. And concerned about the inability to score and team conditioning. I think those are all fair. That's kind of the point we were trying to get. Be thrilled with the win. I don't care that they didn't win 44-0, but there's some things there. The high ball early on in the game, the trips right screen, usually poorly called timing-wise. Things that, yeah, you can get away against the B team Chiefs. You don't get away with those against the Texans, the Chargers, the Jaguars, the Patriots, the Bills, and whoever else is in the postseason.
Well, you said it earlier in the show, the Brady quote of "you never go broke taking a profit." And I
Right.
do think there are some elements of Bo where he will overlook what is there to try to put it into a different spot. And I think the Jacksonville game was probably the best example of that when he threw the pick late, trying to force it to Sutton when 2 other guys were open down the field to keep a drive alive, pick up a first down, and he forced that. And I think those things are more likely to happen. He's more inclined to be pushed into those mistakes when he is playing from behind and when it is being forced upon him late. If you put him in a tie game late, he's great, right? Because there's no pressure. Right? All you're doing is going to win. But when you're 2 scores down and it's the fourth quarter, are you going to take the profit and be content with that? Or are you going to get maybe a little bit more impatient like your head coach sometimes gets with the play calling? You're going to try to force it to your guy, Cortland Sutton. And, those things I can see need improvement. But look, we can sit here and bemoan all the things that they don't do or what are frustrating to watch or how many points they're scoring. They're in position to be the number 1 seed and have a bye and go dictate their path to the Super Bowl. So we can point out all the things that in those games they play in the postseason they will need to do better, but they're in position to have an opportunity to do that. So we're having the discussion about they've already done the bulk of the work. They're going to have the chance now. It's just whether or not they do those things when the big opportunity comes.
And real quick, Wade wanted to text back in. It was Davis Webb telling Bo to calm down, not Sean. So that's an interesting, because they've got a really good dynamic there. Davis Webb's probably out of here next year. He's gonna probably be at least an offensive coordinator for a team. But overall, I like the Broncos win. And one thing I'll point out, we are being critical because we want the Broncos to win the Super Bowl. I am well aware if you turn on a Texans game, you're going to watch the Texans do a bunch of stupid things. If you turn on the Chargers game, you're going to watch them not execute. If you turn on any of these teams, the Jaguars, it's going to be interesting when a team punches them back in the mouth and they're not able to just kind of keep rolling, how they respond to that. We haven't seen that out of Jacksonville. So these other teams have things they don't do well that their fan base, that their local media are all panicking about as they try to make a Super Bowl run.
Yeah, 100%. You've pointed it out when, the Broncos have had a bye week or a Thursday game and you get to watch Red Zone. It's a little bit more comforting when you go, oh, all these other teams screw things up too.
Yeah, they're all doing stupid. Every game you watch, you're like, what the hell did you do that for? But also last night, the Denver Nuggets get a win, down 3 starters against a team that has just owned them the last years. The Nuggets now 3-0 against the Timberwolves this year. Masterclass from Nikola Jokic. What impressed me the most is down 3 starters. At no point last night were the Denver Nuggets at all scared of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Business as usual. Go out. We got Jokic. We got, Jamal Star. And the way Jamal Murray is playing to start this season. And down 3 guys, doesn't matter, right? We've got the one guy. And that's historically been the story in the NBA is, do you have the one dude? The Nuggets got the one dude. I don't know if it's sustainable over the long term of a regular season, counting on Jokic and Murray this much. They really need somebody to start coming back. I would think Christian Brown has got to be close. I have no idea on Aaron Gordon, and Cam Johnson obviously is going to be a little bit. But if this team is healthy for the playoffs, as I've said since this summer, they have as good of a chance as anybody.
One thing I want to see them stick to, and this may be hard, but it's not Michael Malone anymore. Keep Jokic and Murray's minutes where they're at. Don't feel the need to play them more because you're down the other guys. You've got some pretty capable guys coming off the bench still with Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway Jr. and then Valanciunas. Just keep the minutes where they are. Don't force it and get desperate. Do the Michael Malone thing where you're so desperate to win games now, you exhaust your guys later on.
And I think they can do that with Jokic, and it probably will be, easily accomplished because of Valanciunas. The question is can they do it with Murray, with
that's
the other
hard
guys
one.
out?
Yeah, that's because they already struggled with ball handling, and Cam could kind of be the stagger a little bit and try to run the offense through him. That's now gone. They don't have the size, but overall, I think with the Nuggets, just kind of stay calm when you're out there. Don't feel the desperation. Now, last night was awesome. I mean, Jokic is cooking. You do that every time. I think something else. It's kind of crazy though right now. As good as the Thunder are, the Nuggets aren't scared of them. The Nuggets, legitimately, we're looking at them when healthy as a team that nobody wants to see because they're scoring at such a high clip. The defense sucks, but they're scoring 130 to 140. It feels like every game.
Still a month and a half away from the first showdown there.
Isn't that wild that it's that far in? It's okay. We go to OKC first, right?
Yeah, sometime in February, right?
Yeah. And somebody texted in, Avs in Vegas tomorrow night, big game. Here's the thing. I don't mean to be cocky. I'm confident in the Avalanche in whatever game they play in.
Yeah, with
year.
4 days off.
Yeah.
Yeah, with 4 days off, look, the Avalanche are an absolute juggernaut, and I go into every game now expecting they're going to come out with 2 points.
Yeah, I think they're going to come out with it. Alex behind the glass, thank you so much. We got the fellas next?
Got the fellas, yep.
We got Dover and Cecil next. Chad, it was fun. Stick around for the Tribe.
Follow us on X at DEN Sports 1043 for up-to-the-minute information and opinions on all things Denver sports. Also, we can still call it Twitter, right? Denver Sports 1043 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Catch a ride with EV and Auto. Catch a ride.
Foundation Kia wishes you a Merry Christmas. Otto is shaking all the gift boxes.
Auto checking for car keys.
Up to snow good again? You can have yourself a merry little lease on an all-new Kia EV9 during Kia's Season of New Traditions sales event.
Trimming tree and prices.
We're slaying deals this holiday season. See us in Wheat Ridge or FoundationKia.com.
Deck the halls and catch a ride.
Dan Jacobs for 303 Law 4040, and I'm here with that beautiful voice you hear on the other end of the phone oftentimes when you call 303 Law 4040. It's my lovely wife, Kimberly. Kim, I know you and I had so much fun the other day. We actually met with a couple that had been in an accident up north in their house the other day, and Randy was so excited. He's like, I can't believe it. It's the lovely wife. She's right here in my kitchen.
He's too kind. It was really great to meet him and his wife and his pets and just be able to help